are back. The time is now.
NUFC Early Night News with Gary DeJordy Yum Yum, Andrew Boki, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA.
NUFC Talk.
Welcome one and all. NUFC Talk with myself, the Jordy Yum Yum. We've got Tina Tooney and Boki. Obviously, still no mighty win. He's still not feeling 100%, bless him. So we will just crack on. No substitutes tonight, so we've got a team of three, and we'll plough through it. We can have a bit of a look at some of the news, some of the bits and pieces that are out there. I mean, it's like I said, it just seems to be the old same, really midweek eve before the big game. So we'll have a deep dive into that as well. So let's do the housework. And then we'll crack on with my little ditty, and then we'll have the show. Let's see then what we got. Well, obviously, welcome to everybody that's watching. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. Don't forget, people out there in viewerland, smash that like button for us. Subscribe. It's totally free. The same as hitting the bell. You will get that 30-minute warning if you hit the bell when we go live. It's always live. It's never edited. What you hear is what you get with us. Memberships. If you want to become a member, it's $4.99 for all of the NTTV Plus stuff. Like I say, there's lots of stuff still in the pipeline to come your way as well. So, like I say, it's well worth a point a week. If you've got a question for all of us in the panel, then obviously try and put a Q in front of that question. It certainly helps us just highlight it. But what my mate Boki's been doing, bless him, he's been putting a lot of the chats on the screen for all of us to have a look at. We will try and stop at some things that are relevant. But like I say, nothing is guaranteed because we have quite a bit to talk about. So if you want to guarantee it, then throw us the NTTV super chat. That'll guarantee that that question is discussed. And anybody that becomes a member during the show, or any of our members that gift them, will be highlighted and thanked as we go. So that is really it. I mean, might as well call it the end of the show now. Right then, let's do me ditty. I found this one quite funny. Newcastle United are in Gay Paris, the city of love, lights, and if history is anything to go by, the occasional defensive meltdown, where Champions League nights are big and referee nightmares are bigger. It's Newcastle in Paris. A trip that still gives Toon fans PTSD from the horrific handball decision at the Parc des Princes last time we visited. A call so bad it could have been made by someone who thinks VAR stands for very arbitrary refereeing. PSG have spent decade trying to buy the Champions League with world-class talent, a history of continental success, and more attacking options than a supermarket buffet. While we've spent a decade trying to find a midfielder who can't take a set piece. But here we are, final game of the group stage. Everything's on the line, and Eddie Howe's men marching into Parc des Princes like a stag do that's already had several points. At the airport, strap in, because Newcastle pull this off. The Eiffel Tower won't be the only thing lighting up Paris tomorrow night. There you go. Hey, diddly boo.
Lovely.
I love it. Love it.
Fantastic as always.
Yeah, love it when them come together. It only takes me 2 minutes. Anyway, how are we, Tina and Boka? Are we good? The eve of probably one of the biggest nights in Newcastle's history to a degree.
I'm doing great, really. Oh, sorry, no, go on, Boki, you first.
No, go on, Christina.
Okay. I'm doing really good, really excited. I was kind of chill. Oh no, the final start, don't worry. I've already seen in the chat, let's not cyber bully Boki's cardigan. He's not wearing a cardigan today, but I'm sure I'll be able to attack his hoodie or something. But yeah, super excited. I was pretty chill about the match tomorrow, like yesterday and most of today, and then just as it got to the end of my work day, I got really excited for tomorrow. I'm now hyped. I'm ready for this match. Really excited. So, yeah.
Good. Okay. Boki, how you doing, mate?
Good, yeah. Looking forward to it as well. I think it could be a good game. I'm not as confident as Tina in regards to result wise, but I think any Champions League game that you're playing against one of the perceived bigger teams in Europe is always exciting, isn't it? It's always something to look forward to.
And we've done
Yeah,
them before. I mean, it was at St James's Park, but
yeah, exactly, and I think that is it, isn't it? You know, St James's Park is a different animal, but like I said, you know, having a couple of hours today just to try and break down something for tonight. Like I say, you look at some of the games. I mean, it's very difficult to look at them in League One because some of the quality just isn't there. But when you look at them in the Champions League, and again, that's where I'll focus on because the levels of are a bit different. A team that I mean, you look at Sporting; they literally just went at them. You know, they defended decent, but it was more the fact that they pushed them back. And what I've noticed with PSG, if you allow them time, they'll dominate. You know, you've got to get on the board. You've got to be running the hard yards to try and get in at them, spoil it if you like for them. And by doing so, I think Newcastle, if they can retain that identity that we somehow seem to have lost along the way, I think that will be something for us to work on. I mean, the first thing I wanted to ask you guys. I mean, Anthony Gordon has come out over the last 24 hours regarding social media trolls as he spoke in Paris, and what he's more or less saying that he's, you know, he wants to be the lad who breaks history, if you like. He's already on a par with Alan Shearer, and he wants to go above and beyond. And like I say, the links are very heavy when it comes to the likes of Arteta. But what he had to say was, on the offensive, he said, I stay off social media. It is not for me. I don't care for people's opinion, whether they love me or they don't like me. Doesn't bother me either way. I like just go on my own motivation, the things that motivate me daily. That comes from within for me. Everyone works differently. Some people can use the social media stuff for motivation, but that's not my style. He was asked then, obviously, about the
Gary,
returns.
people, sorry to interrupt you, but people are saying your mic's too low. They can't hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay.
It's going through. There's a few
They're
people
saying,
saying in the chat now.
okay, doke. Let me just turn my volume up a little bit then. So hopefully that is a little bit better for you guys. Give us the thumbs up to make sure that you can hear me a little bit better now. If you can't, then have your ears checked. I'm joking. I mean, I don't know why all of a sudden it's gone low. I am looking at my voice meter and it's pounding. So, like I said, yeah, where was I? Yeah, there we go. What he said was, he was asked about the returns, Anthony Gordon. I don't have an answer for you. Unfortunately, it is just one of those things. I am trying the exact same in all games and trying to do the same things always. They are just going in the Champions League, and obviously not in the Premier League. With the season has gone so far overall for him, Anthony Gordon saying, I think perceptions sometimes can distort reality a bit. I think people's expectations of me have grown, and rightly so. I am completely fine with that, but I know I am doing the right things every day. Whether I'm flying, whether I'm not playing so well, I try and just give my best. The results is sometimes kind of out of my hands. I'm also playing against right backs who are elite themselves. So I know people expect a lot from me, but they're also quite good players themselves. They get paid quite well to stop me. A little bit of on the offensive from Anthony Gordon. I mean, probably just what's Becca saying? It's all about the bass, Gary.
all about the bass.
I'm going to start doing the wiggity wiggity wah.
Definitely
It is weird with my make believe decks. It is strange though to think that, like, you know, Anthony Gordon is able to do it against elite fullbacks. Can't do it in the Premier League. Doesn't seem to be a finger on the pulse for any of the reasons or rationales for why it's not so much of a gimme. When you look at some of the sides he's played already this season, haven't been the best defences he's faced, haven't been the best fullbacks he's faced, in all honesty. And yet when it comes to the top fullbacks in Europe, he seems to find his way. What's going on? Becky, have you got any answers for me? Because you're the one who's always positive.
Becca, did you mean Tina?
Becca. Sorry, Tina. Yeah. There you go.
I'll just senior. Let Becca take over.
Senior moment. Sorry. It's because Becca was in the chat then. I've still got her in my head. Apologies.
I get it. It's okay.
What do you think?
I mean, first of all, did somebody ask him the question about social media? Because if he's avoiding it all together, I would like to know where he's realised that people are saying things about him. In regards to his form, I think we've all seen that he is better in the Champions League. I don't know if it's because, again, much like the team, whether it's just because the Champions League sides aren't as used to playing against him as some of the Premiership sides are, or if it's more like a motivational thing. Like, I get it, Champions League nights are special. You've got that Champions League music. The crowd goes absolutely wild. It's the world stage. And I've felt a lot like this season has been Anthony Gordon preparing for the World Cup. And obviously our Champions League, there's more eyes on you for and like on a world stage. So, and I mean, I'm not gonna slate him because I do think the effort's there. Like, especially over the last few games, he's certainly shut me up when I put him on the naughty list at Christmas, and I thought he was the only one not putting the effort in. I think since Christmas he's been one of the more exciting players again, even though I would prefer to see him in a position where he can get those crosses in. But I do genuinely think, and I don't think it's a fault of his, I think it's a natural reaction as a human, that when it comes to Champions League, he's just got a little bit more motivation. And if he could carry that in the Premier League, I mean, he'd probably be the best left winger in the Premier League.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like I say, it is a strange one. I mean, listen, you know, if the lad pulls it off again tomorrow regarding getting anything against Paris, I have been disappointed, but I'll applaud him, you know, all the same, because at the end of the day, he's wearing black and white. I have to support the situation and where he is now. I just think he's lost his way a little bit. And again, I don't know whether, you know, with his name being up in lights. And like you say, if he's not on social media, where does he get the information from? Obviously, his agents and his entourage, I would imagine, feed the lines. And I'm sure some of his family, friends that do look online, I suppose they obviously feed him a lot of the information that's coming through social media. So, you know, for me, it's more a case of, like I say, get your head down and get on with it. But I just find it's totally different. Go on, mate.
Sorry, mate. Just a quick one on that. Do you think it could possibly be that because he's played against better players? And I know it sounds like counterproductive, but whereas when he plays lesser teams, they're concentrating on him a lot because they know he's one of our main focuses of attack. Whereas when he goes to the Champions League, their players are willing to take more chances and not necessarily just sitting back watching Anthony Gordon. They're trying to produce for their team as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's more open. You know, I think there's more space in and behind, because obviously it is a bit of a lottery. You know, it's like Russian roulette at times. It's winner takes all at the end of the day. So there's a lot of teams that are, you know, searching for points in the Champions League that have to come and attack and leave space behind. And obviously in the Premier League, you don't get that. You know, especially if you're scraping points, you tend to go a little bit tighter at the back, play the long ball, bypass the midfield, and if you've got a pacey centre forward, you can cause, you know, oppositions a lot of problems. And we've been up against a lot more of that in recent seasons, where the ball just literally gets played over the top. It's not launched forward. It's just into a space, into a gap for the opposition striker to run onto. So we saw it against Aston Villa. You know, the amount of people, I've had the pee ripped out of me massively, as you can imagine, talking like this. Like I say, a lot of my Villa mates are all Claret fans. So it's been a case of, oh, you didn't respect us enough. And I'm just saying, I just never in a world of pig's pudding thought that Unai Emery had like turned to a long ball attitude to win the game. So it's been some good banter. They were the better team on the day, to be fair. They took the chance and it was well deserved. I mean, I think if we were still playing there, we wouldn't have got a goal. I mean, like I say, there's people in the chat there, you know, RGZ saying he's a cracking player. You know, just having adjusted how to play, not for the better in my mind. Premier League have figured him out. Champions League, slightly lesser known, but he'll come good. And that's what I said, you know, I think it is just the fact that the Champions League is a little bit more open for him to exploit the space in and behind. But I thought it was an interesting one where, you know, it's typical Anthony Gordon. The tip of scouser attitude, if you like. I don't care. You know, you can bring it on, lads, if you want. Because, like I say, I don't care about it. So that was an interesting one.
I would prefer all players to be like that. I don't think people should pay attention to social media. I mean, I know there are some really good accounts on social media and some very intelligent people post on there, but it's also where you're just going to get the dregs of people who are absolutely miserable, just needing somewhere to take their frustration out on. And famous people online seems to be a constant target for those types of people. So you're definitely better off avoiding it, I would say. As a professional, or is anybody in the eyes of the public?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Is anybody? You know, there's a lot of keyboard warriors. You know, we see them on the show. They come in and they put some nonsense in the background. That is just how it is these days.
Don't talk about Borky while he's here, though. That's not nice.
Well, he knows whatever I say, I'll say to his face anyway.
Yeah, I'm not quick enough to type.
Listen, I've only got 2 fingers, and they're both index fingers, but they go quick. Interesting on what Eddie Howe has to say regarding our loan situation. I'm not 100% sure why he has to work on, you know, the noise, if you like, about it's not worth getting involved because there's either I mean, some of his words were it's either teams that players aren't in form, teams are paying high wages, so we can't actually get involved with that anyway. I mean, some of his excuses of what he was saying about not going into the loan market, for me, just doesn't bear any fruit. Obviously, today we've seen Diaz going back to Luis, what's his name, going back from Villa's old player. I can't think of his bloody name. It's just on the tip of my tongue and it's gone. And he, you know, has gone back on loan. No. It's
not Watkin. Did it begin with a W?
It begins with L. It'll come to me in a minute. But you know, he's gone back and he said, you know, it's nice to come back to Aston Villa. He's played under Emery before. They had to move him on because of PSR. They've also picked up Tammy Abraham, as Connor's just said there. So you know they've got lots of players that, and like I said, they've got players that are injured. We've got players that are injured. Douglas Luiz, there you go. Thank you, Michael. Douglas Luiz has gone back to play at Aston Villa. So, you know, for me, there is players there that can help you out. We saw what Aston Villa did last year with Rashford. It got them out of trouble. They've got problems in midfield. So straight away, Unai Emery has gone straight into the loan market and bought in another quality midfielder. Somebody he knows very well, somebody he's worked with before. What is the matter with Eddie Howe? Why can't he do it?
I mean, sorry, go on.
No, go on, Christina.
I mean, I've talked loads. I feel bad, but my only thought was because Eddie Howe is famously like a. How can I put this in a way that's going to be accepted? Like Eddie Howe likes nice people. Like a lot of people have mentioned that he likes to have a like he's it's all very family esque at Newcastle United, and I'm wondering if part of why he doesn't go in for loans is linked to like not wanting to bring somebody in who could cause any disruption or who could cause somebody to get the ump a little bit if their position's being taken by somebody who's not actually part of the squad.
Yeah,
I,
I mean, I don't agree with what he says in the comments there. If you read the comments there, it's very
Got me
difficult
glass the
for
other
us
day.
to use the loan market. There's not very many clubs around the world who want to help us because we're competitors. No, we're not competing around the world. I can understand Premier League, and I can understand in some cases some of the Champions League teams. Would be erring on the side of caution, if you like. But I mean, when players need to be moved from clubs, they just want them out. It's not, yes, they may not be in form. Yes, they may come with a lot of wages, but that's a negotiation thing. That's why you've got a director of football to go in there and negotiate wages. How much of those wages on a percentage are you going to pay? Is it 50-50? Is there an option to buy at the end? Like we did with Louis Saul. I think Louis Saul is the only player, if memory serves me right, under Eddie Howe's tenure that we've had on loan, apart from obviously Ramsdale.
I was going to say
But
Ramsey.
but I don't really class that as as we've already got that many blooming keepers. It didn't really matter. But I mean, I just don't understand his mentality behind it. Is there anything that you guys can bring out of what I've just read there and make sense of it?
I don't know if he just needs some. If he's just got in his head that he doesn't want loan players. We all know how pig-headed how can be. So whether he
Mm.
just thinks to himself, I don't fancy any loan players. I just want to keep the player, any player that I bring in, I want to be my player, so I've got full control over the situation. I think he's. I mean, we're looking at it from the outside, so we don't know. But I don't know that he's a little bit of a control freak. So he has to be in control of everything. And with loan players, he wouldn't necessarily be like that because the club that obviously the parent club would want to know how the player's doing and have a say over why they're not playing and things like that. That's the only reason I can think that he doesn't do it because for me, there's no reason whatsoever that you don't go out and try to get a couple of loan players. What harm does it do?
Mm.
I mean,
Uh,
in regards to the quote that you put up, like to be fair, and it's probably going to sound quite like victim mentality or quite conspiratorial, but there is a lot that makes me feel as if Newcastle are a very fought against club. Like the rules of the PSR came in the second we set up, like Undertaker after being taken over. You know
mhm.
the restrictions and that's not affected any other team that's been taken over by a massive conglomerate. There are definitely bids that we've put in which are 3 times the amount of what other teams have put in, and regardless of the position and standing of the team that players then went to, that team has for some reason got this player with a lot less of a wage than us. And I do maybe think in the back of my mind, I do always think that maybe people remember, like, because it's been a while since we've been the the team that people, everybody's second favorite club, the team that people were rightly scared of, the team where nobody wanted to go and play at St James's Park. It's been a while since we've been that team, the Entertainers or Bobby's Boys. It's been a while, but I could see a reason why teams would be scared of that coming back. Like, I don't think anybody wants to see the Manchester United of old come back. And I think there's still in the back of some teams' heads that little thought of, what if Newcastle come back? What if this actually happens?
Yeah, I mean, listen. There's lots of, as always, with Newcastle United, and we've seen it well since the takeover. If you like, we've been involved in lots of rumours regarding players coming in, and we've heard only recently 4 main players that we've been looked at. But obviously, Brooke Norton Cuffy from Genoa. Again, being touted as the one that very interested in. Again, if Genoa are interested in moving him on, right, surely you get that chance to bring the lad in with the option to buy if you can negotiate the deal. The other one is that Duembia from Watford. Another one, again, you look at what, again, a lot of interest. I understand there's certain clubs that just won't, but when it's not in the Premier League, then you can go and ask the question, as we did against Hall. I mean, Hall was just a Chelsea off-cut. He just didn't, Chelsea just wanted him out. Didn't think he was going to make the grade. But there's been a really interesting one that come up during the early hours of this morning with Adam Wharton. Now, we've all heard about Crystal Palace, and they are literally tumbling down. Now, this is crazy for me because, like I say, his price tag, according to the report, is £88.5 million. Team Talk reports that Newcastle United have held preliminary discussions with the representatives of Adam Wharton. Crystal Palace are expected to demand a substantial fee, and figures in the range of £65 to £80 million have been mentioned. Some sources suggest that Palace could insist on a total package closer to £100 million because of the potential for a bidding war. The negotiations are expected to be protracted and costly, and even Wharton's ideal preference is to play Champions League football. Again, for me, if we are going into that type of area and discussing players, maybe for the summer, and I'm certainly, I wouldn't rule Wharton out. I do think there's better players out there, if I'm honest with you. I ain't enamored by Wharton. He's a good player, but is he elite? No, not in my eyes. We've got rid of a better player than I believe we've got rid of a better player than Wharton is. So why we're thinking about it, I don't know. But for me, if the energy is there to speak to his representatives, they should be somewhere else trying to get somebody in, especially as we're down to the bare bones in the back four. It's great to see, obviously, Dan Burn back, but that certainly still doesn't give us any cover in the full-back scenario.
But Gary, with that as well, why we're going back again, Premier League players? That's why we're paying these massively inflated prices, is because we're going in for proven Premier League players. We've got to start, and I was hoping this is what Wilson would do when he came in, is start looking at different leagues, get away from Premier League players. Not completely, you can, buy an occasional Premier League player, but the amount we try to get with Premier League experience, and even if you go abroad and get them who've already played in the Premier League, you're going to pay them higher wages. So I think we need to get away from this thing where all we want is Premier League players.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, for me, just like I said, if you're going to go somewhere, you'd go to Atalanta and have a talk about Edison because he's a great player, But unfortunately, I think he's going to be touted to the bigger boys, if I'm honest with you. That is going to be the problem with the likes of Edison. There's a lot of people, a lot of clubs already trying to inquire about the availability of him. So, again, you then come down to that bidding war, wages, can we afford to do so? And it's just becomes a hard slog, doesn't it?
I think part of the issue, sorry, Buggy.
No, go on, Christina, you just go.
No, I was just going to say, one of the things that I said yesterday about, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the lads to bits, so I'm not slating him at all, but Nick Waltemada, you look at him before he came to Newcastle United, and I mean, he was nicknamed Walter Messi for a reason. and then he's came in the Premier League and he's found it difficult. So do you think that maybe, especially if you're looking for something in January, where you're looking to bring somebody in who's going to see you to the end of the season, rather than somebody who you're bringing in to bed into the team over like 3 to 4 months, as Eddie Howe often does? Do you think the fact that, Walter Mata has struggled a bit in the Premier League may have then put them back off the idea of going abroad for players?
But Christina, could I chuck some players back at you? Elanga, Wissa, Ramsey.
Oh yeah, don't get us, but again, I mean,
we've paid a lot of money for the. I mean, Voldemort was a lot of money, but he's a young lad, and he's one that there's a player there. You can see it in them. There's something there, and he will develop. But as I say, you go out and you spend that much money. I mean, at the minute, it's looking like maybe he's wasted £150 million plus in the summer on trying to get proven Premier League players in. And it's not only the fact that we've done it now. You're not going to be able to move them lads on easily because they'll be on high wages. But we've put ourselves in a stuck situation. Just before we do move on, Gary, can I do this super chat from was I?
I'm just going
We
to
need
say
a lift.
to.
Yeah, we need a lift. We need War Mandy back. Let's have it. Let's have it. That was
great,
more,
100%.
that was more Cockney than name Geordie.
Well, you need to go the other way a bit. Norwich.
Yeah.
Yano's saying bringing Premier League proven makes perfect sense if you like City. You integrate them in the team immediately. We don't do that, so why pay the premium? I mean, he's one, right? Over £100 million sitting on the bench over the last few games. We aren't a club that can afford to do so. That's the problem for me. If we were an Arsenal, a Liverpool, Spurs even, because of their income, they can move players away from the starting 11 if they're out of form. That's where Eddie Howe, I think, is literally finding himself under the microscope a little bit more because these are his players now. And like I say, the wiggle room for getting it right. And again, let me throw this back at you then, you two, because you've both come in with absolutely perfect points. But because of the pressure, right? And again, these are all just little things, all these little ditties, if you like, come into my head as we talk. So forgive me if this comes out completely tits up. But if the pressure's on Eddie Howe to get it right from the start, does that not give him scope, or at least to look closer to Premier League, because they should be able to hit the ground running, as Jano's just said, regarding the likes of City, rather than going further afield, as we've seen in European competitions now. You go into the lesser European competitions, English clubs that even finished 16th and 17th got to the final. So, Champions League, there's a lot of English clubs, Premier League clubs vying for those top positions. So is it more of a gamble to go abroad under the scrutiny that he's in to get it right first time?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Bogey touched on before. Like, the players that we brought in summer were definitely supposed to be players who would hit the ground running. But as has been mentioned, you do end up paying a premium price for that. But I think that especially with how badly the transfers went in summer, I think every single player that comes in now is going to be extra harshly scrutinised. And not to mention, over the past few years, there was big gaps in bringing players in as well. So I think that's going to add to like being under that microscope, like you've just mentioned.
Balky, what's your thoughts on that message then? Is it something that you think he has got the right, or the if you look at the scales do favour Premier League proven player because he's under so much scrutiny of getting the right player coming through the door?
I could understand it the first few seasons, and I could understand it when we got in the Champions League for the first time. But surely enough, by now, I'd love to know how this 100-day review went, because why?
Not heard anything, have we?
We haven't heard anything. Why aren't we scouting players? If the plan is to go for Premier League players, then in my view, that is wrong. We need to be getting players in from further afield as well. So why haven't we got a scouting team? I mean, they might be doing this. They might, but I think someone from the club to help Eddie out needs to come out and say, or Wilson or Hodgkinson need to come out and say, look at this. This is where we're at now. We're starting to get coaches, teams set up, scouting teams set up across the world. More established ones. We maybe want to put a team together across the world, sort of, or a couple of teams, so that we can develop players there. But to be fair to how the club itself, Hodgson came in with a big fanfare, as did Wilson, but then they've just let that bloke get on. You never really hear from them. And I think maybe it's just not obviously not every week. I'm not being daft, but every couple of months, and especially when he came in doing, I'm doing this massive review, not come out and give us full details of what's been done, but come out and just say, look, this is where the club's, this is what we're thinking at the minute, where we want to be. This is what we want to do. This is how we're going to get there. But instead, it's just left. This is where I do feel sorry for Eddie. Everything's just left to him to go through on in pressers and everything, and then answering questions about the club. It's like the training ground, even. They obviously leaked the training ground because of the result of the match that the other week. But then why haven't they followed that up with, look, we can't give details as yet because it's still in planning, but we are still definitely looking into the new training ground.
Yeah, Geordie down here, the 100-day review is with the stadium announcement. Stuck in the twilight zone. I was going to sneeze and cough at the same time, and neither of them come out. Yano is saying a bit of a good one here, and I've got to bounce off that one. I've got one from Connor that he's just said. In my opinion, Eddie Howe has prevented every DOF from doing his job. He cocked up the transfer deals in the summer. He needed to be told to keep his beak out and just do his job coaching the players he's given. And what Connor said is, what I'm worried about is the academy. As since Mitchell left, we haven't signed one academy player. And the under-21s coach left after 6 months. Is it being neglected again? So a couple of bits to churn on that. And if I'm honest with you, it's not, the way I look at this now, it's not about, yes, it's being neglected. I think there's just probably other areas that will take a priority as we speak. Do you want to do this one before I rattle on?
Can do. Cheers, was for the super chat there, mate. Wages is not the problem. We need hungry and willing players. 100%, mate. You're right.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just gonna have a quick sip because I'm a bit croaky.
Croaky and bulky.
Croaky and bulky. Yeah. I just think with where we are at the moment, we are like, that's why I mentioned the crossroads yesterday, because it does feel as though we are in a bit of crossroads, and I keep going back to where some of these so-called under-21 stars, are actually going to, because none of them, they've all gone to like first or second or League One, League Two clubs, or Scotland, right? Is that a level that Eddie Howe can choose and pick from to bring into the first team and feel confident with? Well, I don't think it is. And going on, is it being neglected? I don't think it's being neglected solely and purely. Is a lot of the under 18s have been used and utilised to play at under 21s. Now, yes, the results haven't gone for them, but you've got to remember, and this is where it becomes very hard for any under 21 coach or under 18 coach. It's not a results industry. It's to get individuals ready for the step up. So sometimes you do have to concentrate more on the individuals. It's like teachers, isn't it? Sometimes you'll see a lad or a lass in the classroom that's a real starlet. Subconsciously, you do tend to focus more on getting them up to scratch to move to better things. You still open it up to everybody, but you do subconsciously move your mindset towards them. And that's what coaches do at that level. And I think to utilise Newcastle as a stepping stone, I don't think it's the best club in the world to do so, because we are still so new into this new regime of the academy, because it's never been done before.
The thing is, though, we've been bringing staff in who do have experience, in that area. And a lot of people put the onus on like the first team manager for whatever reason. I'm sure they've got their reasons, but like it's not as if the people who it's not as if it's just been like me and Borky and you have been called up like, yeah, do you fancy coming and running the academy? Like these are people who we are bringing in who have got a CV, who have some sort of experience in this area. So, I mean, I don't see how we're not. Like, I don't know why we're so far off. And obviously, the fact that, I mean, academies take a long time to build. You don't go from being a nothing team that's struggling with relegation to having Ronaldinho pop up through your ranks. Like, that doesn't happen. But I mean, we've brought in players with a lot of hype who have then ended up going to, as you've said, second tier teams like Alfie Harrison. I mean, everybody was going wild for him. Cordero. Like, so there is a question of is something at Newcastle hindering their progress? And it's not a case of, oh, well, they're not getting first team opportunities. That's not how academy level works. Like, there's something on their training ground or in their matches or in their development that's either not working or something with our scouts bringing them in that was vastly wrong at point zero.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I mean, what shocked me, if I'm honest with you, was the fact that we've only literally just got our scouts into Scotland. And you think where Scotland is, it's on our doorstep, in the northeast. So why we haven't scouted in Scotland before? Now, listen, there's going to be a lot of people say, Scottish football isn't the best. And I appreciate the levels probably aren't there. But it's like everybody. You don't if you're that shining light, take it before it goes elsewhere. That because that's what the other big teams around us do. They're just licking the cream off the top of the milk, mate.
Gary, can I just ask as well there? If you're a parent and you're getting scouted by a Newcastle United scout, obviously, and you're seeing the way players progress at our club, and then you've got them also being scouted by uh, Chelsea or Man City or someone like that, who do you choose to send your kids to?
That's the like I said. You're always going to go to the club that's going to pay the money, mate. That money talks. And listen, look at Gascoigne. What was Gascoigne's choice? He could have gone to Man U, but decided to go to Spurs because of the money to pay to his old man.
That's not so much but that's not so much at youth level, though, is it? I think we're talking like the young kids. They're not going to, it's not about money at that level. But as I say, if you're at that level, who would you choose to say if you're the parents and you're the kid and you look and you mentioned Newcastle, for example, Alan Shearer. Well, would it be the same situation now that if there was a great Geordie kid up here and they went through our academy and then went to a better academy, who would you choose to go with? If
Yeah, but
I know we haven't got the setup, but I don't know what you do to get that sorted out in the short term.
Yeah, but what did Alan Shearer have to do to get known, get noticed? He had to move to Southampton. He was never going to get involved in Newcastle. Yeah. So it was a case of, sometimes you do, again, you get shoehorned into a situation and, it's like I've seen really good kids fail. And it's not nice. And it's because of size. Normally they're too small. So professional clubs just look at your stature, your profile and say, well, yes, you're good. Yes, you're athletic. But you know what? You're going to get bullied. At this level, you're going to get knocked off the ball. So they get pushed back a little bit further. And then you'll get the next kid come along who probably isn't as technically gifted as the younger kid. And it goes on and on and on. But they will be seen, especially if he's one that gets himself, in front of the coach's face. But when it comes to parents don't always look at what's happening at the club that they're going to. They just see what's being offered. And that is horrible to say because, like I say, sometimes that is where the decision being made fails because it is then the kid shoehorned into a club that could wreck his career. And how many times as kids now have we seen go to the elite sides, never be seen, and then get sold on because of the cash cow that becomes academy football these days. They're not these big clubs. the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, Man U's aren't bringing in players now to think, oh, he's going to be in my first team in 5 years' time. All they're looking at is if I can make him shine, I'm going to make myself £30 million off him. And that's the problem with today's
just
football.
quickly do this super chat, Gary
You
from
can, mate,
Wazza again. UI, Borky and Yami, more like the police, more like Police Academy. I don't know which ones would be from Police Academy, mate. I can't remember the names now. What's one of them
Bokey
called,
and
mate?
Yummy.
Doesn't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't do anything with my mouth regarding sounds. Is the closest you're going to get for a, you know what I mean? But I mean, like I said, it is a difficult situation. But I understand, like I said, the academy. There is something wrong with Newcastle's academy, and it doesn't matter how many people you get in. I mean, Connor said, 5 under 21 coaches in the last 4 years. Sorry, why? What's happening? What has gone wrong for 5? I mean, don't get me wrong. The figures are probably a little bit twisted because there has been a couple of internal coaches that have bounced in and out of the role while they're looking. But they're looking for the right profile. Now, the lad that's just left, he came from Manchester United. He had the right profile. But again, there's something at Newcastle that just doesn't fit the bill. And again, if they're using it as a stepping stone to advance in careers regarding an assistant manager to a bigger club or, or somewhere else, I don't think Newcastle's the right place at the minute because it's unstable. It's because they're still building it. It's still a network being built.
I think on that, Gary, as well.
I was going to say, Christina thought she was going to come in there with something. I could see them cogs turning.
Oh, I've let her in loads of night. I'll quickly finish this quick because mine's just a really quick point. Do you not think with that with the management of the club, part of the frustration for the manager could be he's not seeing his youngsters get a chance. He's not seeing them get them little 5 minutes at the end of games and stuff as well. So he's thinking, hang on, I'm getting these lads ready. Obviously, at a level where maybe they can't play a game in the Premier League, obviously, but they're getting into the squad. Do you think he's maybe thinking to himself, well, if they're never, ever just going to get chucked onto the pitch, what's the point in this?
Yeah, well, I think there's a little bit of the under-21s coach. This is going to sound really harsh. Has no say in it. Nothing at all. So there's no conversation regarding. The coaches will speak, as in they'll highlight players that are doing decent, they're doing okay. When Eddie Howe picks a team for like the Champions League, obviously we know the likes of Lascelles and the keepers are involved. So what he has to do then is he has to think a little bit further down the pecking order. And as you've seen in the last couple of Champions League games, you've had the likes of Alfie Harrison on the bench. He'll never play, but he's just been named in the squad because he's in the under-21s. They come free of charge, if you like. And that was the same with Max Thompson before he obviously now has moved on. So the other lads come on. That's another Harrison, I believe, that's come on as another keeper. So even though it looks great on your CV because you've been involved in a Champions League team, sat on a bench, put a coat on in Paris, you're never going to kick a ball. But it's like I said, you for me, it's like closing a door where after the horse has gone, you know what I mean? It's like you're just shoehorning a player into position. But it also proves, buddy, that we haven't got a big enough squad. When you're having to start employing some of these youngins to fit the bill, the squad just isn't there, and that is the top and bottom of it. I mean, what's happened to Lascelles? Again, the only thing I can think of is he's literally wrapped him up in cotton wool because he wants him out at some point in this window. West Ham were interested. I don't know whether they still are, but it just seems a little bit ridiculous for me when you're down to your. I'm talking before Burns come back. You're down to last 2 centre halves, your last 2 fullbacks in the team. No cover anywhere else in the park. And yet you still keep playing it. You still keep pushing. And you've still got Lascelles that's there. Listen, he may not be ready. He may not be match ready, as in sharp, but he said, these are his words, he ain't injured. His body just doesn't feel right, which is absolutely tosh, if I'm honest with you. If you're in a need and a requirement, and he's the club captain still, he's part of the leadership group, he should be the one saying to the gaffer, listen, get me involved, put me a shirt on, and even if it's the last 10 minutes and you need me, throw me on, I'll do a job for you. That's what leadership is, not hiding in a closet somewhere making a cup of tea.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I'm very disappointed that Lascelles hasn't came back. I mean, I've made him plenty of excuses. Sorry about that. But at the end of the day, I mean, he did come out and say that he just didn't feel right, and I feel like now Eddie is probably just kind of protecting him of, okay, you're not gonna cover yourself in any glory. But I mean, we've got Murphy and people on the bench who aren't getting time, and in dire situations, they're not a player who you would really want to put on unless it was absolute like desperation, like it was when Alex Murphy last got a game. So players like themselves, especially when they're part of the leadership group. I mean, if you're looking at like what Boggy was saying about what you're giving these youth players as a carrot, surely it's not good to see a leader who's refused to, like, oh no, I don't feel like it. I don't know if he's maybe going through the change, or like if it's, I don't know what it is. Like, it's not good though from a leader to be like that. And I think it does also expose, the squad is bare bones, and we don't have a squad that's a good size. And that's, something that we've tried to build on, but we get that many injuries that it's almost impossible. But when everybody's fit, we actually do have a good midfield now and a good back line. Even with Lascelles not being there. But I think, and maybe it is time now for Eddie to, okay, we've shown loyalty, we've done our thing, we've been all happy and jolly. Now, either pull on a shirt and pull up your socks or get out of the club. And I don't like saying that about Lascelles. You know that I'm not that type of person, but I think a bit of ruthlessness could maybe shake up the team, and it would definitely ignite a bit of happiness in the fans, I think, if they saw that from Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't disagree with you. I think, like I said, there is links for us being out there. There is obviously this pot of 25 to 30 million pounds out there, and you're right. I think sometimes, just getting a player in, and it doesn't matter who it is. When I say it doesn't matter who it is, when you're struggling like we are at the moment to cover a fullback, it can trip you to 3 games.
I mean,
At this level.
And I just quickly do the super chat from was I there again? Bring back the reserves, better mix than the under 21s.
And just going back to that before as well, though, like Newcastle haven't had like a world class academy for a long time, and I think some of these managers who are leaving, like you were mentioning before, we've had so many coaches for the under 21s come in and leave. I think there's a chance, and maybe I'm wrong here, but there's maybe a chance that they're seeing Newcastle United, this massive stadium right in the centre of the city, all these fans, they literally walk into Sainsbury's with their Newcastle top on. Every day they'll wear some sort of Newcastle merch and thinking, that's going to be a massive academy, I'm going to go there. And then they get here and the lads are getting trained in a shed, and like the kit man's turning up on a bicycle, and they're probably getting a little bit disheartened from the fact that we aren't, like, compared to St James's Park, and then the fan base that Newcastle have got, the academy just isn't it.
I mean, while you're talking about that, I mean, there you go. There is talk that Adidas will be releasing 96, 97 gear next year. So again, I think we're seeing a lot more retro kit come through the doors. More than
there goes my savings.
Exactly. Like I say, one of my favourite tops. I might wear that tomorrow night. Actually, I've got that down. I might wear that tomorrow. The blue one in the middle there, top on.
I
still want the white one.
I hated the neck on
it's
that one with the big
a bit
thick,
tight.
wasn't it? And
Yeah,
makes your neck sweat.
yeah.
Just on that though, Gary, with the old kits and all the old players, do you think we're beginning to overdo this a little bit as well? In regards to, I know it's all for commercial side, and I know they're
Of
going to
course it
keep doing
is.
it no matter what. But sort of, it makes people nostalgic for past football. Is that part of the issue as well? That everyone's looking back with rose-tinted glasses a little bit, and then they're watching the football now and they're thinking, "Oh, it was brilliant back then. Why don't we play like we did back then?" And we weren't always brilliant back in the under
Well,
Robson and under Keegan.
no,
So
but this
I
is the
think
thing.
Wash your
Yeah, no,
mouth out
here.
with soap, Bulky.
Look,
I'm not saying we
ca-
weren't good, but I'm just saying we were never perfect. We were never a perfect football team. We didn't win
yeah,
anything the other side of the coin.
that's right. I mean, this is something that really resounds for me because, like I say, it was Kevin, bless him, who did decide that the reserve setup wasn't going to achieve anything, and money could be spent better elsewhere. And unfortunately, we've never ever recovered. And I think the problem is now with the PPP and a lot of you know. It's funny because like when I was coaching, I was lucky enough, if you like, to I've said this before, but lucky enough to have a lad from Feyenoord who then took me over to Netherlands and showed me. I spent a month and a bit there, 6 weeks, um, literally watching their coaching style, trying to harmonise some and amalgamate it to some British stuff, if you like. Doesn't work. And I'll tell you the reasons why it doesn't work, because back then, the kids laughed at you. What do you mean you want me to play with a tennis ball? What do you mean? I don't want to play with tennis ball. We play with big balls here. So, sometimes when you've watched these guys play for years, we're about 10, 15 years behind anybody else globally at the moment when it comes to um, academies. We are catching up with the bigger ones because, like I say, when you can go and buy the cream of the crop, all of a sudden your academy gets a lot nicer to play within, because if you look at Liverpool bringing on Rio, and we've seen Arsenal with Doman, he seems a different player and a different class altogether. Excuse me. So there is growth. The problem with that growth is, where do you concentrate and how do you concentrate? And I think the problem, if you look at our training ground at the minute, it ain't fit for the first team. It ain't going to be fit for a young un. That's why, for me, I cannot believe it's still taken 4 years. And as of yet, we've still not heard anything. I'm sure, and somebody will correct me in the chat, but I'm sure we heard a lot more from the CEO when bloody Ashley was here, especially from the club. And we heard nothing when they were there. It just seems for me, it's like you said before, Boki, when there's something bad happen, whether it's a result or something happens, they bring out a bit of good news to gloss over the effect of it to a degree. But I think this academy thing, that to me should have been the first thing that you aim for to attract the kids. Because the kids, it's like games, isn't it? Electronics. You throw an electronic thing in front of a kid these days, if it's the up to date one, they're in for it straight away. If you offer them the option between I don't know, something back in my day, Spectrum 64 or whatever it was, to what it is now. You know what I mean? I don't even play these games, so I don't know. But I mean, do you know what I'm saying? If you can modernise that academy, that in itself, doesn't matter who's coaching you, just having that in itself will attract good youngsters. Not saying they're elite youngsters, but good youngsters.
I'm not saying PIF aren't looking at these things and aren't going to do them eventually, but it just always seems to be down the road. Everything with them seems to be, give with that little bit of time, let we do this. And, what we're actually seeing improve. Yes, we've had massive improvements at the training ground. That the ground's got a bit better, and they've spent money on players. But this big promise of them turning into an elite club, there's nothing actually officially came out on the training ground. There's nothing actually officially came out on the new ground itself. Where's this hype? There's all this hype, and it just feels at the minute like we're sort of just floating along, being promised things that, but always just give a little bit of time, a little bit further down the road.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's weird.
it's
Sorry,
crazy.
go on.
No, I'm just saying it just seems, for me, it's criminal to think that you've got such a good thing going, and we just never seem to actually get over. I mean, that was an interesting one that I read the other day. And I don't know how true it is. They're talking about Leesy's Park now has got oil underneath it. Did you know that?
We'll end up with the hillbillies, eh?
Um,
What's
I,
called?
I I was apparently it's something to do with heating. They've got these oil pipes that run through
Ah,
to the
right.
RVI, yeah, that run all the way through the Leesy's Park to the RVI. So apparently, if they were to have uh, the ground done there, there's got to be a lot more work done underground to actually make it work. Again, I don't know how true that is. I was reading something the other day saying there's their oil underneath those Leesy's Park. Like you said, the hillbillies will be there. Let's jump on quickly because, like I say, we've got about half an hour left. So let's have a quick look at tomorrow's game because it's going to be sink or swim tomorrow night. So this is just literally the team for Newcastle that started against Aston Villa, and that's the team I believe PSG will come out at us. I mean, there's been lots of changes, lots of rest for PSG. So, like I say, you talk about teams that play a 4-3-3. Well, they do as well. It's going to be like for like. I would imagine. But it's for me, there's still a lots of question marks. I mean, Bruno apparently had done. The lads will talk a bit more about it at 9:30. Bruno's done 15 minutes. We've seen Jacob Murphy on the training field as well with Asula again working the yard. So again, it looks like his hamstring tweak is going to be. It'd be okay probably to sit on the bench, but we know now that J7's going to be missing for a few weeks with his groin. So there is going to be some changes. And who comes in? Does Bruno come in? Do you risk him? Like I say, I'm sure the lads will go into all that a little bit later. But let's do a little bit of history because I was having quite a nice look at this place. So, I mean, fingers crossed we don't get that Polish referee, Simon Merchiniak, obviously on the touch side with Tino Livramento's bizarre handball that got Mbappe the penalty in the 98th minute. I mean, it just felt literally as though my chair had been taken away from me. But it's quite. I mean, it's a lovely story for Paris Saint-Germain. It's a football club only came into being in 1970 when Stade Germanois, founded in 1904, and Paris Football Club established only 18 months before PSG were brought together. They actually split again in 1972, with Paris FC maintaining pro status and obtaining Parc des Princes, while PSG dropped into the amateur Division 3. Just 2 years later, Paris FC were relegated to the second tier as PSG moved into the top flight. Like I say, sometimes time makes all the difference. Incredibly, the Fresh Capital had not had a professional football club since the demise. Where's that gone? Since the demise of my computer's gone all over the place. I do apologise. Where's that gone? It's just gone completely AWOL. That's it. Demise of Racing Club de France and Stade Francois in the 60s, and inspired by the great Ajax team of Johan Cruyff. The club's first president, fashion designer Daniel Hector, placed a large vertical red stripe in the middle of the shirt, a design has been reprised many times since. Red and blue are the colours of the city of Paris, with white alluding to the royal connections of Saint-Germain-en-Laye, the city just outside the capital where PSG's training centre and youth academy is currently based. The club's badge features the Eiffel Tower and a cradle representing the badge of Saint-Germain-en-Laye and the birthplace of legendary French King Louis XIV. So there you go. So, like I say, a little bit of history there. I mean, like I say, I didn't realise that PSG had only operated since the 70s, though. I thought it was older than that, but it obviously isn't. So let's, like I say, what do you think of? Do you guys know anything about PSG? Is it something that you've watched previously? I know you were talking before about it, Christina. A couple of players that you recognised. They're obviously very good. If you don't know them,
Yeah.
no, they are very, very good. And obviously, we the last time we played in the Champions League, they couldn't beat us, winning 4-1 at home and drawing 1-1 by that debacle handball, like I say, in the 98th minute, which Mbele took. But I mean, this is a different animal these days. So let's have a little bit of a deep dive into it then. So you look at PSG's strengths, elite attacking talent, players like Dembele bring pace, unpredictability, and goal threat from wide areas. He was League One Player of the Year and a genius match changer, if I'm honest with you. He definitely is one of those players that just seems he can play through the middle, out wide. He just seems very good and you know, comfortable on the ball. They've also got obviously a lot of midfield combination. You know, Vitina likes to control the ball. We've got Zaire Emery as well, potentially playing on the right hand side, potentially right back. But again, it's more of a free role. João Neves offers creativity, control, and energy. And they've got this cup winners mentality, and that thing for me is the big thing. PSG won a historic Champions League treble recently, showing they can perform at the biggest stage. And for me, the only thing that I was disappointed was the Club World Cup. They just didn't seem to want to turn up against Chelsea. So if you look at the tactical threat, PSG attacks swiftly through transitions and now have allowed fullbacks in wide areas, often making defenders chase ghosts rather than the ball. But there is weaknesses in amongst all of this elite talent. Sometimes you can get a midfield balance issue. Despite talent, PSG sometimes struggle to control tempo consistently against high pressing sides. So again, all the teams that I've watched, when you see these elite players, the Mayalus, the Mbais, the Vitinas, never like to be pressed. If we sit back like we have been in the past and give them too much respect, this is a team that can obviously tear you a new one. So that's certainly something that we have to be careful of. Yes, mate.
Just ask you a quick question, mate. Are these a better team now than they were 2 years ago when we played them? Or
In my eyes, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a better team that we're playing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's surprising when you're when you get rid of some of the egos. You do then seem to see a team come together. You know, you're not reliant on certain individuals. I mean, listen, Mbappe's Mbappe. You know, he's a quality player. But when Mbappe wasn't really cutting the mustard, it was like I say, when you saw them at St James's Park, when they have an off day, they have an off day. Nobody, you know, hands on hips, body language didn't really want to work hard. So, you know, it's like I said, sometimes the want to do it is more than the will to do it sometimes. And like I say, now they've got rid of that. You know, Kvaratskhelia on that left hand side can play right, Doué left or right. And again, you know, you look at the back line, you know, Marquinhos and Pacho with Hernandez on the left hand side. I mean, they are just a very, very good side. And I just think there's something that you have to be careful of. But I just think we've just got to be so on the money mentally. You know, it's more for me. Tomorrow's game will be more of a psychological issue, because if you do get in the faces, and you do, and that's why I think J7's groin injury for me will probably be a big loss, because when you get rattled by J7, and he's that type of player. He's, I can say, like a Jack Russell, but he's a bit too big for a Jack Russell. But I mean, you know what I mean? He's just somebody nipping around your ankles all the time. You can get in your mindset. You can change your mentality towards that game. So, like I said, if you look at their history of big name nerves before the season's success, their sustained pressure can expose fractures in confidence and concentration. So we've already mentioned some of the players to watch for Tina, Hakimi, Ramos, Zaire Emery, Jay Neves. Like I say, they just love that. I call it the metronome. And if you look at the way they play, it's very much ping, 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 and it's all one stroke, two touch football, and everybody just moves. They've just got a habit of triggering point presses, and then literally it's pace, and they're in behind you. So, like I said, for me, it's going to be 11 mentalities versus 11 players. And if our mentality is better than their play, and I mean by that is you stop them playing, there's every chance Newcastle can come out with something tomorrow. Do you think a draw is good enough? I mean, we've guaranteed a playoff, but it is that extra 2 games. I think the way we are at this moment, and Eddie Howe, obviously lackluster attempt to go into the loan market, so it doesn't look like we're buying anybody. Do you think an extra 2 games is going to really hinder us going to what we've got now coming in the Champions League and Premier League and domestic cups?
Going for a draw, Gary's ridiculous. We'll go there. We've got to go there to win. Even if we end up getting beat and beat well, for us, the best thing, well, it's always the best thing that can happen is you win, but you want that win, so you're not having to play those games. So a win gets you something, a draw or a loss gets you nothing. So, you go there 100% to win.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the postie was saying, would you go to Paris and put your kids there and give everybody a rest because you're guaranteed it now? And I'm like, there's no way you would take kids to Paris, Champions League football, when there's still everything to play for, especially if it stops 2 more games. Because by giving it all tomorrow night, I know it's probably going to kill us against Liverpool the weekend. But it's a late kickoff. It ain't a million miles to travel. There is a couple of days of recovery. If they go and they leave it all on the park tomorrow night, I think the game, and they win it, the confidence that would take, the recovery would be twofold. Because it's that adrenaline, that mindset, that positiveness that it brings. You haven't got them extra 2 games. You've just beat Paris Saint-Germain in Paris. Doesn't come any better than that for me, for a confidence builder. So, what you've got to ask yourself is, it'd be too silly not to. You might as well wait and play Man City, like I said, two goals down, and say, go on, throw the kids on at that one. See what you can do. Well, when I say kids, I mean the lads that aren't playing regularly. Give everybody that hasn't had a game a chance to go and prove what they're worth.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that, just to try to put a little bit of optimism on it, on top of the fact that we should definitely go to get the win. I mean, Paris Saint-Germain are a team with like a full squad of fantastic individuals who are now probably a better team than they've been since they became like a massive power. But if you look at them, they're also a team that, if Newcastle are actually at our best, are exactly the type of team that we'd love to play against. Somebody
Absolutely.
who's going to give Gordon a bit of space, somebody who's going to give Alangwa a bit of space. I think J7's going to be a massive miss tomorrow because he's kind of one of our main pressers. And I think he would have given these an absolute terrorizing time tomorrow. I think they would have hated playing against J7. So, look, I respect Paris Saint-Germain. Their players, their team, even their bench is full of absolute world-class stars. But I can't get myself past the fact that if there is a big team that we are prime to pull a massive day out against, it's Paris Saint-Germain, because, as I say, they play right into our hands if we're at our best.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and that's been the problem so far this season for me. We've seen these must-win games, and the must-win mentality hasn't been there. So, there is nobody can tell me that supports football that you cannot get up and ready for the Northeast Derby, because that to me is one of the biggest derbies there is going, because of your locality, because you're one club cities, if you like. So For me, if you can't get your players ready for that, there's an issue. And I know, listen, Premier League and Champions League football is totally different. Players want to play in Champions League football, but they've also got to remember that it's the Premier League performances that get you through the door for play Champions League. And I cannot believe, in all honesty, the drop off that's been Premier League to Champions League. It is for me. It is like watching Paris Saint-Germain, who have got two teams. One team comes out for the Premier League, one team comes out for the Champions League. Even though they're all the same names, they just don't look the same team.
In regards to the getting motivated for a match, when we look at the Sunderland game, do you not think there was a little bit more pressure on the players for Sunderland? Because in that game, we were kind of expected to be able to do something. Like, there was a lot of expectation. Like, a lot of Newcastle fans were, oh, we're going to absolutely stuff the Mackhams. Whereas we're kind of the underdogs, and I think we played better as underdogs. I think the added expectation against Sunderland and that added to the pressure was kind of what maybe took away from the motivation. Like, I get that it looked like they weren't up for it, but I think there was a level of fear there because of the expectation that isn't going to be there against Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, I get you, but like I say, for me, it's like I said, we watch derbies. I mean, I'm like I say, I live in the Midlands. There's derbies virtually back in the good old days. There was derbies all the time. We don't see them anymore because, like I say, the drop off from the other clubs has been massive. I mean, the club that I worked at, we hated everybody. The other five, if you like, because we were never going to get to them heights, if you like, in the lower leagues. So it was always a case of trying to, and that's what I said. You look at the Celtic Rangers games, you look at the two Man City, the Manchester games, the Everton and Liverpool. It always seems to be, or even the Norwich. You look at the Sussex. I can't ever see a game where two clubs don't come out, just for the fans mainly, and that banter. They want to win. I just didn't see that with any Newcastle player. And I sometimes wonder, and you may be right, maybe the focus and the emphasis has been towards something that, is probably in Eddie Howe's mindset more important. But to fans, and I think that is where a lot of the swing towards Eddie. And I saw on another channel that they put a poll up there about Eddie Howe out, Eddie Howe in, and I think it was 72%, something stupid like that, want him out. And like I say, I don't know the full facts. I wasn't involved in the show, but that it's there, and you start thinking, wow, and it seems to have all been it's like a catalyst all from that derby day, every single thing. And, Michael was being hammered by myself and the mighty win yesterday, throwing him stats from the last 10 to 12 games. But if you look at those 12 games, you think, well, hold on, form-wise, we're not too bad. We are sitting in around the top six. It ain't a problem. You don't look past that, because like I say, you're still looking at from that point forward, we've been bad. 5 games doesn't matter. 10 games doesn't matter. That is when it mattered back then, when you should have turned up. And that's what sticks in fans' mindsets. So, there is something. I mean, I am weary of the time. We're down to the last 10 minutes. Do you guys
do the same?
Yeah, carry on.
Move on from
no problem,
mate. Yami, where are Walsall now, my friend?
Well, they are. Well, they've just dropped out the top 3. I think they've gone into. They're still in the playoffs. They're doing all right. It's like I said, it's the only club that's got a little bit of a pull on my heartstring. Is where I worked for 3 years, so I always watch how they're getting on. When you look at this team now, like I said, we've gone through. Obviously, we know J7's going to be out. We know the back 4 virtually runs itself. Does Dan Burn get back in?
Oh, good question. I think if Dan Burn gets back in, it will probably be 3 at the back. Because I think, although then again, Botman's fitness I could see. I don't think it happens. I think unless they play three at the back, I think he goes with the same back line, with possible exceptions for maybe we'll see Miley a right back. Depending on obviously whether Bruno makes it to fitness, and I think with J7 being missing, I don't think Miley will fit into that square. I think that's going to be Ramsey who would play there. But I think Chow and Botman, because they're really starting to make a good centre back pairing, I don't see him changing that tomorrow. I think we're going to go for this tomorrow. I'd be disappointed
I
if we
agree.
don't.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
really
But
don't.
go on, mate.
I don't see the I don't see the point of putting another central defender in. We all know we're struggling to score goals anyway. We need to try to win this game. And as I say, if
Yeah.
we lose, it's kind of what most people are expecting anyway. If we lose, or if we only get a draw, it's not the end of the world. So I think you've got to. I don't think you go more defensive. I think you go more attacking. If
I don't
Yeah,
anything,
but
necessarily think three at the
I
back
I
necessarily.
understand. I understand what she's saying now, because the only thing, like I say, against Paris Saint-Germain, if you went this 3-4-3 system, I mean, I don't know whether you'd have Trips on the right hand side or whether you'd bring somebody in. I mean, obviously we've seen Murphy play down there, but I just think he's too weak playing in that. Kvaratskhelia he's a good player. Whoever's playing right back tomorrow need literally to be plugged into the electric tonight, just to keep them charged, because they're going to be they are going to be in some serious trouble tomorrow. I'd like to see Louis Saul in this position, if I'm honest with you. I think Louis Saul, left side of midfield, could create something, and the beauty of that, it makes us go a little bit narrower up top, which is something, as Boki just said, we have got to go and try and score. And I think working a system like this, if you can do it, and if you looked at the way Villa played against us the weekend, when they had their three really narrow up in our 18-yard box, at least then it gives the defenders something to look at. I think sometimes we just sit too wide, and that's where we become very isolated. So
Gary,
I
just in case
understand it. Go on, mate.
anybody's just listening to work, could you quickly run through the team so they know what we're talking
Well,
about? So the team you
yeah,
think
yeah.
Newcastle are going
Well,
to play?
yeah, that's what I was going to do. I mean, what
All
I was
right,
going to
no
ask
boss.
you
Sorry,
is
mate.
no. That's why I'm saying. Who do you think? What type of style do you go? My concern is you've brought Dan Burn in. Who's on the bench?
That's a big problem,
Fair
isn't it?
point.
And plus, if the other point is, if you bring Dan Burn in but keep with the back four, which one of the back two do you drop? I'm guessing it would have to be Botman. Or I mean, potentially it could be Chow because the amount of games he's played. But
Well, you keep saying that, don't you? You mention Che all the time. You know, I know it's going to sound crazy, and again, I keep going back to what Eddie Howe says. Eddie likes continuity. He doesn't like change in the defensive line. So with that entail and in mindset, I don't think there's going to be any change from the Aston Villa game whatsoever,
so you think there'll be
because he'll want
Cripps,
them on the
Chow,
Chair
Botman, and
Botman,
Hall.
Hall, Trippier.
Yeah.
It'll be Trippier for me. Who have we got? And like I say, we have now got J7 out. That then you're asking yourself, do you risk Bruno? Is Bruno ready to play on that ankle? Should he not just, if he's come through that 15-minute test? I mean, we'll know more tomorrow, I would think. And like I say, if the lads have got any information straight after this, don't forget to stay tuned, because the lads are coming on board. If the lads have got any more information, does it mean that then you are risking our only player in midfield that scored goals? That's the problem. If you play him and he goes down with J7 out for 2 weeks, is there enough players that can make the game or change the game from what we've got at the moment? Does Ramsey change the game? Is he got the ability to change the game? Well, only time's going to see, but I haven't seen it yet. He does carry the ball well, but final third decisions sometimes lose him down. Well, we know what Willett gives you. And like I say, at this present moment in time, the only cover Trippier's got is Miley. So by taking Trippier out against PSG, dropping Miley back there, does that weaken our midfield altogether when you look at the likes of Wissa and Willock coming in? Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, if Bruno doesn't start, like I say, and he doesn't go with Trippier, then you've got Willock and Ramsey coming into your midfield, and you saw how it ended at Aston Villa.
I think we can all kind of guess the more of that. If Bruno was fit, it's Bruno, Miley, and Toon Army and the central midfield spots, isn't it? That's how he's going to play that.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't think there'll be a change apart from the force change with J7, if I'm honest with you. But again, it's the risk to Bruno.
Do you think you'll start Wissa again? Or do you think
tomorrow,
we'll bring Walt back?
No, I think he'll start Wissa. He'll go pace up top. I think even Elanga will get in, if I'm honest with you.
I would play Elanga tomorrow.
Who would you drop then, Barnes or Gordon?
Well, he'll drop Barnes because Gordon's got pace.
It's a hard one.
That's my thoughts.
Yep, it's a hard one with Gordon, isn't it? Because he has played so well in the Champions League.
Absolutely.
You think is this a game set up for him?
But so was Harvey Barnes.
I think
you look at Barnes' numbers. Yeah. That's the thing. And that's what I said. You know, for me, I know it sounds crazy. We lost 2-0. But in the Champions League, that side does well. You know, and like I said, against PSV, yes, it was a weaker side, if you like, and it's not going to be the same against these. But these will allow you space behind if you utilise the ball right. I just think sometimes our passing has been so poor, it's not been worth. But, you know, if you throw Elanga in against Hernandez and Gordon in against Zaire Emery, which, like I say, I don't think that's going to be a problem, if I'm honest with you. I think the only thing is Zaire Emery likes to get here. And that's what I'm saying. So do we gamble with somebody just to stay up top? And, you know, you keep on saying it. Why the hell does everybody come back to, you know, the 30-yard mark, if you like, and stop? Why don't we leave two pacey bodies up top? Because the opposition do have to think about what you're doing. Are you changing the mindset of the coach? Well, yes, you are. But that's what Liverpool have been so successful at doing over the last few seasons, apart from this season. They have been able to get, you know, the likes of what's his name down the right-hand side to get involved. So for me, I think Eddie Howe in these situations does have to take a little bit more of a gamble and say, keep players high. Move their line back rather than compress us on the edge of our box. Keep them separated, because by that, if you get the press on, you get the break on, you know, you move that ball through the middle and then down the lines, there's every opportunity you can turn them facing their own goal. And trust me, doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how elite you are, no defender likes facing their own goal, especially when the ball's being whipped across the 6-yard box. Anything can happen when that happens. Right, I think the boys are just on the verge to come in.
Flew over.
Yeah, as I said, it doesn't take long. The hour and a half, especially when you're in good company, Christina.
Of course,
it always goes quick. And that's it. The lad is back. He's over the pond. He's beaten all the weather barriers that confronted him. Unlike Newcastle, who had to spend 3 or 4 hours on the runway at Newcastle today because the weather was just too bad. How are you, mate? How are you feeling now? You good?
We're getting there. I've just got out of bed.
I can't fault that.
Evening, guys.
Hi, Tina. Hi,
hello. There we go.
You win, mate.
There you go.
How's it going, lads? In Lascelles?
Nice to see you home, safe and sound, sir.
Yeah. I didn't.
Chris can get to St. Louis via bloody halfway around the world, Chicago, Schiphol, and more lads can't make it to Paris. What a clue.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, actually.
I could drive to Paris.
Sit on the runway.
I know. But
there's a song there somewhere.
They made it though, didn't they?
They have made it 2 hours late.
Yeah, they made it. 2 hours a bit
That's
late.
why
Yeah.
the presser was late.
And oh yeah, that's right. They did have a presser. Sorry, my mind's been all over the place, of course. But
It certainly wasn't the world's best. You didn't miss much.
Christina, you excited you were in the intro? Did you catch that one?
What that, sorry? Oh, yes,
Yeah, are you
yes, I
exci-
did. I've
Did you
actually sent
catch
a
the-
message straight away to the evening
There
chat.
you-
I was like, oh my
There
God,
you
oh my God.
go. There you go. I knew I had to do it, but
Thank
the
you
funny
so
part about it
much.
is that I didn't want you guys to start without me doing it, and I kept editing it literally to upload it and everything. It was what time did you guys start? 8. It was 7:59 when I was able to do it. That's when you saw me pop up.
I kept thinking somebody there. Yeah.
And
I was
quickly
buzzing. I was absolutely buzzing. Thank you so much.
Well,
You've made my night.
You deserve it. But you know, it was just.
Don't tell her, Chris. I didn't see it, mate. I didn't see it. I was busy. Don't tell her.
And
that, all
actually,
right?
I actually, because I didn't have a picture of you, I used AI to create a picture of you. Actually, it is
probably
you.
better than the real Christina.
No, it is actually it is you, but I had to put a tune top on you. So there you go, and that's
fair.
exactly you. But I had to put a tune top on. I think they put one of the Fun 88 shirts on you. So yeah,
I'll take
It
what
happens.
I get.
It happens.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I got the Wanga here. Mighty Wins, the Wanga. Mighty Win is a Wanga too, but you know, spelled differently. But anyway, Tim is in the house. Ian is in the house,
Right.
and of course Jefferson should be coming up as well. So lovely early night show with from you, Boki, and yeah, just a trio. Meanwhile, Mighty Win is getting himself together. You know, he says he was on that, but. I don't know.
Far from not, but haven't had any sleep at all, man.
We shall wait and see. But anyways, lads, thank you very much.
Have a good
We'll
one.
start delaying that.
Have a
Delaying
great
that.
show, guys.
And you.
Right
Take care.
now. Let's go.
Bye-bye now.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek the Mighty Win, and the rest of the panel, Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK and UFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
The voice of the Toon Army. It is NUFC Talk Radio. Actually, I could never think that I was going to be able to use that when we actually put that out there before it was even happening. Although I suppose you can have
Before
an
it was
online radio.
official.
Before it was official, I do suppose you can have an online internet radio, which many places do. But we did want the real thing as well, you know, live. And we're not live in Newcastle yet. You can't listen to us yet until February 1st. That's when it's going to be either the most amazing time for us or doomsday. Which one we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We're waiting on Jefferson to get on as well, by the way. February 1st, you can listen to us on DAB in the Toon. All over. Tyneside will be live. So,
But I just
Ian,
say,
did
Chris,
you
that,
when you go
I
on,
just
mate?
wanted to say, before it goes off the screen and I forget to, I like Becca as well, because she thinks I talk sense.
There you go.
And she already said hello before I could say anything. Hi, Becca. Sorry.
There you go, baby. There you go. Talk sense. Don't forget to smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Become a member. Hit the join button down below for everything that we have to put out. Now that we're doing this radio thing, we're going to have to add a lot more shows from a lot more different people. We don't want to clog the YouTube algorithm either. So become a member because you might get to enjoy a lot of stuff. So become a member now. Hit the join button. $4.99. And for the stuff that you get, trust me, it's gonna be amazing for you. And I appreciate everybody that's become a member, that continues to support the channel. Don't forget as well, tomorrow match day live here on NUFC Talk. Live, of course, 2 hours and a half before kickoff even starts, with the build-up, with the lineup, with the predictions, and all of that stuff live here. The Toon Twins, of course. Tomorrow, and then Gary and Michael Gramslow alongside the Mighty Win doing live match commentary, and then of course the instant match reaction. The phone line is back now that I'm back, so the phone line, you'll be able to call in and have your say. 0191-916-8864. See, I remember the phone number, baby. Got it in there.
And hopefully we'll have an interactive live UEFA table on the go.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, no, we'll definitely
will
have
be
that.
exciting.
Yeah, you will see the scores scrolling through your screen of the matches going on. Of course, you will be able to see that. I'm pretty certain of that. So
No, I'm
you'll have
busy
that.
working on the live table.
Yeah, well, we're not going to funny around with that. So, so stop wasting your time, mate. Either way, it had a good time, of course, in Newcastle. Thank you to all the Jordys. Thank you to all the everybody out there that supported and that came to see me. A lot of people. I mean, we even on the last day we had a bloke. We had a bloke that was friends with another bloke that walked up to the table and said, "Look, my mate doesn't want to bother you, so can you come see him because he recognized you from whatever." Remember when? I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just weird, that man. But I appreciate everybody's trying to meet me. I'll try to meet with you guys. When I'm there. So that was great. And the Jeff was his name, I think. Jeff. No, was it Jeff? I think it was Jeff. I'm pretty sure it was Jeff. No, that was Paul. Whoever it was. Thank you very much. Either way, I met a lot of people, man. A lot of people.
He made a big impression.
A lot of
obviously.
people.
No, he was a top bloke, man. I'm pretty sure it was Jeff. Yeah, it was Jeff. But when you weren't there because he didn't want to meet you, he wasn't bothered about you. But
They see me all the time. You were the novelty.
But he also laughed. That was another guy. It must have been. That was Jeff that we met before the game. But after the game, there's another bloke. I forgot his name, but I'll remind you, man. No worries. I'll remember you. We had a good time in it too, man. I'm telling you, it was great. I met a lot of nice people, a lot of important people. A lot of people. The early night show, they were talking about the CEO. I did meet with the CEO. I had a good, deep conversation with him on the Part of the Time show, live event. Met with him and also met with Ross Wilson. I have something to say about Ross Wilson. That will make some people happy and not make other people happy. About something that he said about our transfer window and how it is being conducted. So I'll share that with you guys. And as far as the CEO is a very American. Well, I mean he's Canadian, but very typical American businessman. It's all about business. Of course, he understands what Newcastle United is about.
That's a problem straight away.
Well, listen, he might make us a lot of money, though. That's the thing. So which one do you want? He's going to make us he's very business-driven, man. And, of course, not the type of – it doesn't seem, of course, not the type Mike Ashley type, business-driven with everything about his own pockets. So he seems he's a very down-to-earth guy. And had a great conversation. Great conversation. So, whatever I remember, that if I can say it, I'll bring it up and talk to you guys because the guys earlier tonight in the show were talking about the CEO and, how they thought they should come out and speak more. But it could be, truth to that. But I mean, the training ground thing, it's already out there. It's already been approved, and it's already in the works. It's not going to happen like that. If people want the training ground to be done by next week, but it ain't going to happen. It takes time for all of that stuff. Especially in England, you got to ask permission for a permission to build a permission. It's the bureaucracy over there is criminal, man. It's supposed to here just say, you know what, you want something, boom, you build it. It's that easy. But we'll talk about all of that stuff, of course. And anyway, smash the like button. How are you guys? Ian, Mighty Win. Thank you to Mighty Win, by the way. He's a top bloke, of course. Great friend. You know what I mean. He's top. His takes are rubbish, but he's a good bloke at the end of the day. And shout out to him, of course. Being 97 and going and getting around the tune. It's unbelievable, mate. So I love you and I appreciate you all the time you put in.
Slava.
Ian Mackay, of course, amazing signing. The Toon twin had a wonderful time waiting to eat some Chinese, proper Chinese, man. That the one that Peter put us on, man. Proper. We had to go before we left the Toon.
They went
had to
back.
Go get some. Went back, man. That was some proper stuff, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it was nice. Dead nice.
And Jefferson, maybe next time we'll see each other, mate. If you don't stop being a cheap, you know what?
We're hustling out here.
I'm not going to London. You better believe that. I am not going to London, mate. Way too much, man. To get to find your next gate for your next flight, you got to get on a train, you got to get on a boat, you got to get on a helicopter, come down, walk 10 miles. I mean, it's criminal, man. I'm never going to Heathrow. That's the first thing I saw in London, Heathrow. I'm never going back again, man. I don't need to, man. That's it. That's it.
You should vlog, Chris. You should have done a vlog, right?
I do want to see the Royals and all that stuff, the Buckingham Palace and all that stuff. So I do want to see that. But needless to say, I don't know when I'll be going back or trying London.
Well, you nearly met Prince Charles or King Charles.
I did, because I went to the King Charles. Exactly. I did go to Edinburgh, and he was in Edinburgh.
He was in the house.
He was in the house, man. War King was in the house, and Queen Camilla, of course. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, why are you laughing, man? Folks, we are live.
I'm saying nothing. Like I'm saying nothing.
Yeah. We are going. I'm just letting you know, man. We are going to be live on radio on DAB next week. Everybody on Tyneside will be listening to NUFC Talk. So I mean, massive stuff, man. Massive stuff for the channel. You know, Ian. You know, growing up, you're about 83, I think, just right behind Mighty Win. But growing up, it's never too late, mate, because you're gonna be famous now, aren't you?
You not notice that my hair got cut and my beard got shaved off, and I look like my own son now.
There you go.
Don't you think?
I'm sure your son will be delighted to hear that.
The fortunate part about it is nobody ever sees.
It's a theoretical son that would be my age, but I just think, yeah, my last shaved my beard off, and I suddenly sat in myself and thought I looked about 20 years younger. So only 66 now. Thanks.
There you go, baby. There you go.
Irish is saying Chris spent 1 week with Win, and Win converted Chris back to happy clapper. Drugs may have been involved.
I'm not going to lie. But the thing is also, when you meet certain people, and it puts a lot of once you start. I mean, you obviously just believe what they tell you. I mean, there's no way for me to, and it's not even really an interview space to where you can challenge people. You know, you just basically listen and have a conversation. It puts things into perspective a lot of times. Yeah, I did come from Newcastle. I did come back a little bit of a happy clapper. I'm not gonna lie, I did. So you know, we'll get into that, of course. But yeah, Jefferson is looking like, oh man, this is no way. But you know,
that's why Jeff needs to come to the Toon more often. You know what I mean?
Oh, there you go. Well, but also even watching the games, it's hard to put the emotion aside. You know, like if you win a great game against PSV, and you know, it's hard to get off that game and try to analyze and try to overanalyze, because I was listening to the guys, of course, that were doing the reaction, and it did seem like, you know, they had no emotion, basically three heartless fans talking, but they're doing their job, of course. You know, they can't be. There's a fine line between us now. We've got to put a little more thought into it, as opposed to just three fans, you know, throwing the black and white flag around. Which, by the way, I said for Aston Villa, Jamie will tell you this. There's a fan right next to us on the left, that season ticket holder. He does not know how to wave a flag. It was criminal, man. It kept rolling. It kept rolling. It was insane. And Jamie told me it was going to happen. It is unbelievable. But anyway,
there's a knack.
It's
Figure of 8.
But he couldn't do it. It just kept rolling around his arm. It kept, you know, it was weird, man. It was weird. But
he's not alone in that. There's a lot of people have difficulty.
It is a bit hard to take that emotion out. But again, against PSV, you can analyze a few things, but it was a good performance. It was a good performance. But then you get into the Villa game, and you're man, that was tough. That was tough, and everybody in Newcastle knew it was tough. So again, fans are, you know, they know what's happening, and trust me, some of them are not even patient enough to stay during the whole game. In masses after the second goal, Aston Villa's second goal, in masses, they got up and walked out. And trust me, that's not a happy clapping attitude, if you will. You know what I mean? They listen. We can talk about that, of course. I don't want to. We got a game plan here on the show, but I'm just saying, it was. We go with the emotions, of what's going on, and people were upset. You know what I mean?
RJ Fox with a £10 super chat. Thank you, RJ.
Thank you,
Top
mate.
work
Appreciate
from
it
the
very much.
channel again, DAB, folks. All the hard graft putting the stuff together and putting up with us whingers and the mighty win. Well done, NUFC Talk. We're not knackered.
Well, not knackered, man. And I'm telling you, it's going to be
Cheers,
great.
RJ.
It's going to be great to get the fans from Newcastle's perspective on a lot of things. So hopefully they do interact. Hopefully they come to the YouTube side and they call in when we put out the phone number out there, because we definitely want to hear their opinion on everything. So let's see a bit of a rundown on what's going on tonight here on the Late Night Show, ladies and gents. We're going to be talking about the Champions League trip to PSG, of course. Injury blows as Joelinton is out for this game. And there's more rumors about Jamal Lascelles and what the possibility of him being transferred out is, as well as Bruno being a question mark next to Bruno. He's been running, though. He was seen running. But we shall talk about what would you do, because we still, in the Premier League, need to add points. And we didn't do that over the weekend with Aston Villa. So what should Eddie Howe do tomorrow in Paris? We shall talk about that, of course. There is sort of a message, a screenshot of a sort of like a forum type thing. The Bournemouth fans warning Newcastle fans about basically that these are the same symptoms that they had been seeing for a long time before Eddie Howe was, sacked, for lack of a better word. And we'll go through it and see what you guys have to say, of course. And we'll get to the live chats. So all the comments, we'll do a little bit of a rundown. So bring in your comments. And yeah, we'll get to talk about all that stuff. So it is the Late Night Show, ladies and gents. First of all, I guess we can talk about the injuries. Joelinton is out. Is that going to be an issue for Newcastle United? Was he even going to play? So let's open the forum. Win, Ian, Tim, Jefferson, Howe. Don't be shy now.
I would have thought he would have started. To be honest, I thought we were in with a good shout against Villa whilst he was combating Onana. But as soon as he went off, even though Ramsey played well, I thought Onana bossed the midfield in the second half because Joelinton went off. He has been one of our best performers since Christmas anyway. I know he was a bit broken and out for a while, but he's putting a good run of form together, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, and a lot of people were saying, go on, Ian, sorry.
I was just going to say against Villa, I thought that we coped without Bruno. I thought Miley filled his rather large boots adequately. I won't say he was better than Bruno. He wasn't. But I thought we were coping without him.
Against Villa?
Joelinton going off was a bridge too far for me.
Well, no, Miley was good. Miley was excellent. Miley's been excellent for a long time now. So,
yeah, with regard to Ramsey, there's a lot of people saying Ramsey had a really good game, etc. I didn't see him having a really good game, and he certainly, as you've just said, wasn't as effective at combating the midfield the way J7 had been. So that was a bit of
he was extra motivated. He was tougher than I've seen him be before. Maybe because he's
got a good reception from Villa.
The guys he trained with up until August.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean he's improving, isn't he? So where his ceiling is, I don't know. Hopefully it's beyond where he's been.
I mean, for me, I would have liked Ramsey to come in and start. I think in his mind, he's probably thinking, what am I here? Am I just purely a bench player or what? Just to say, Chris, shout out again, mate. It was class to see you and Toon and win as well, and getting the drinks. And so I really appreciate all your hospitality that way. It was quality. Shout out to Becca and Kim as well. They were giving me a hello there, so maybe they think I know what I'm talking about. You never know. But yeah, going back to Ramsey, I just think with rotation, it's a problem. And I think Kev on the show, he spoke a lot of great points. And I think he's mentioned that Eddie Howe was like a victim of his own success. And I do agree with that in general. But with certain grievances, it's hard to ignore them at the moment. And rotation is one of them, one of those points. And Ramsey, I just think like he needs to be starting games. And I would have liked him start this game against Villa, his old team, see what he can do. But I think before now, I think it's all these bitty appearances that I don't think helps him as a player. And in terms of will we miss J7? Well, yeah, we probably will, but I just think there's too much of a fixation on the Holy Trinity of J7, Bruno, and Tonali. And Tonali himself, I don't think was that great against Villa.
So, but the thing with that is, what are we going to do now moving forward? Clearly, Ramsey could play instead of Bruno, and because Bruno's in doubt, and if he is that player that that we rely on, one of our best players, then are we going to risk him? Although it's a PSG game, so it's an important game to risk somebody. To be fair, so but the thing is, we are very much in need of points in the Premier League as well, because it didn't work out. The Wolves gamble didn't work out, and the Villa, I don't know what happened with Villa, but it didn't work out. Nothing worked out then. So we didn't get any points. Only got 1 point out of 6 points that we could have gotten, and that is not a good deal. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to rest? I think you might want to rest Bruno tomorrow, to be fair.
Yeah,
but the fact that he's running, it may feel like he's not going to.
Well, yeah, we need to start resting players. We literally played 3 games in 7 days and only made 2 changes. And one of those players is Trippier, 35 years old, playing all 3 games. Like, we've got to actually start resting players and rotating. And yes, going forward, you think, okay, what we're going to do now? And now it might hurt us, if you like. But you've got to start somewhere. And we did it, to be fair, at the beginning of the season. But with all these games coming up, we have to do it. So it's about trusting the squad and looking at the bigger picture. And I understand you look at the next game and you think, okay, we need to win the next game. It's very important. We need the points. But at some point, you've got to just plant your flag down and say, okay, I'm just going to trust the squad that I've got and play players who are fully fit or play players who are in form and drop players who aren't in form and see how it goes that way. And if you want to call it take the hit, then you take the hit. But you never know. Actually, if you trust the squad, you might see these players are capable of coming in and doing a job for you. But 20 minutes here and there, it is not going to get them up to speed.
As far as tomorrow's concerned, as daft as it is, if you remember going back to the Marseille game, when I said we should have had all our meat on the grill, because that was the one that could have made a difference. Right now, we could have been sitting pretty, probably guaranteed top 8. We're not
we didn't
now.
Rest many players there anyway,
but as it's turned out, even if we get beat tomorrow, we are knackered. We're still in, in the knockout, and unless we win, which can be done, of course. We're not going to be in top 8. So it then boils down to how important is home leg second in the grand scheme of things, and if it isn't, then stupid as it sounds, tomorrow is probably one of the games that I would have actually been quite happy to put out a weekend team, because I think even our strongest team playing to the top of their game is going to have their work cut out to beat PSG at Parc des Princes. Therefore, if you're going to rest players and give them a chance, tomorrow to me is the ideal time to do it, because even with the worst team in the world that we put out, we're not going to get battered by 6 or 7, which is the only thing that could possibly make a difference to us if the bottom teams win by 3 or 4 goals themselves, because our plus 10 goal difference is worth a point.
Yeah, but some people are going to say that, or even Eddie Howe actually has said it, that he wants us to be 8th because of the amount of games we could use not playing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But do you think that we, even with our best side in top form, could beat PSG, which is the only way we'll finish it? I think we could. I think the team that a lot of people have suggested for tomorrow is perfectly capable of producing a shock.
I want to hear from Jefferson because he's been awful quiet and it's a bit
he's just been keeping his powder dry.
Sounds familiar.
What's going on, mate? Because I mean, you've been awful quiet, but you're allowed on next, for example. So what's going on, mate?
Yeah. I mean, look, we're coming up against the European champions and now the world champions, so we can't even beat Aston Villa. Let's not fool ourselves and think we've got a chance against them. And I know people will say that PSG lost last week against Sporting. But if anything, that's worse because that's like a caged wolf that's going to come out running at us. They are going to want to get those 3 points after what happened to them last week. And I think they're on the same points as us. So actually, they'll want top 8 as well. There's no chance Luis Enrique will want to be losing this game at home. And I do think it's a matter of how many goals we concede. I think we can keep it tight. I think we can keep it to 2-1 potentially, but I'm thinking 3-1, a 3-1 loss. And I just think that there's so many options that's going to be very difficult to keep them quiet on the night, being realistic here. Particularly when you're missing your linchpins like your Brunos. I think the Joelinton loss is an interesting one because whilst he gives us, physicality in the midfield, which you might need, I actually think we might need some mobility because the way Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, and it depends if João Neves is playing, they move the ball so quickly. And we saw, was it against Man City? It was, wasn't it? When Man City started passing the ball around us, we started getting frustrated and fouling. We're not at that level in terms of, possession style play and understandably players will get frustrated. But I think there's actually a bit of hope if you've got some legs in there. So you've talked about Jacob Ramsey, for example. He's got good ground speed. I know Tonali hasn't been the best in possession, but one thing he can do is press and chase back because we will be playing against pace as well when you've got the likes of Doué, Barcola and Dembele on the break. So actually having the likes of Tonali and Ramsey running backwards could be quite helpful as well. So it could be a small blessing in disguise, but I agree with Win in terms of qualifying for Europe, improving our Premier League position is probably paramount right now. We do have knockout football in the bag. It's not like we need to qualify. And I know it adds extra games to our season, but we've been dire in the Premier League, so we need to get back on it.
Well, I mean, you could look at it from the standpoint, and we put ourselves in this situation, so you can't really be too expectant or can't expect everything to go perfect or have a perfect way to the. Well, I don't even know what the objective would be to as far as the Champions League, but we're gonna have to play more games because we put ourselves in this predicament. It is just as simple as that. Nobody,
Well, why haven't you?
No. We put ourselves in the predicament to have to maybe give up a PSG game, or the opportunity to become 8th, and have to play extra games. We put ourselves in that predicament because if we had gotten the points in the Premier League that we needed, maybe we could have gone all in tomorrow against PSG, and therefore, gamble on that. But right now, we have to focus on the Premier League as well, and that might cause us to give up tomorrow's game and end up playing more games on top of that. So it's everything has a consequence. You see, Mighty Win. Everything you do in life has a consequence. So you can't have it both ways now. We're still alive on all fronts, basically. So you're just gonna have to pick your poison. I guess.
Chris, one more thing. Isn't it worth, these kids that have been sat on the bench all these games, play Leo Shaha, play Alex Murphy, play Sam Alabi, let them have their debuts. Let them have their debuts on such a big stage as well. And maybe even a tweak, a little bit of an experiment, because we've seen it before in a preseason game. I don't know if it was last season or the season before. Lewis Hall played central midfield. I think it was against Hull, and he was spraying balls everywhere. He played there for Chelsea before Graham Potter actually converted him to a left back. Maybe you play Murphy, Alex Murphy, who's got speed, left back, and you play Lewis Hall left central midfield, because he could give us a bit of penetration in terms of passing through the middle. Just it'll be nice to see something a little bit different, but I think give those youth players their debuts. Why not?
But Jeffo, the perfect time for that was against PSV, wasn't it? 2-0 up, 3-0
Home
up.
support as well.
Yeah, Alex Murphy could have came on in that game.
I know it's an interesting one, because it was the first time I actually gave Eddie some credit in terms of the amount of times every time we've been in a great position, we always fail, with the exception of the cup final. He got the win in what was arguably, we didn't know that PSV were going to be as drab as they were, but it was still a high stakes game. It was a game that we had to win. So on that basis, if he'd gambled and we lost, I would have been the first to say,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
difficult.
exactly.
It's
I
hard.
just mean from the bench. I just mean literally the last 20
bring
minutes.
them on. Yeah.
Give him his debut. Last 20 minutes, we've won the game. It's done and dusted. That was the time to get him on the pitch. He didn't.
I agree.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't rate him. And as for Alex Murphy having pace, Jeffers, he ain't got any pace.
Why is he in the squad?
Well, he looked all right against Celtic.
Well, that was a long time ago, to be fair. But
he was that all right. Celtic people 4-0.
Oh, he was good though. He was good. He was all right against Celtic, man. The point is, it makes no sense to have players that you're not going to use or ever going to use. It makes no sense, because, and again, your argument might be,
but that's because we're scraping the barrel in defense.
Well, again, your argument might be, well, he would only be used when we're in a dire situation, but we are in a dire situation and still doesn't use him. So if he's
not
he's
dire
not
enough.
Yeah, but he's looked at least competent. Do you know what I mean? When we've seen him, surely you've seen him come on.
He's not competent enough. He's not competent enough when Shah went off with his bad ankle for him to be brought on to play that last part of that game. He moved Miley back to centre half, didn't he?
Exactly.
And
when we have seen him on the pitch,
Lascelles
but I think the eye test, I think he has looked competent when I've seen him come on. In terms of
when he played against Fulham, I thought he looked all right. I thought he looked okay.
That's about the best game he's had in the first team, the Fulham.
Well, that's about the only chance he's gotten. So,
but I mean, bear in mind, we completely dominated. That scoreline is the most irreflective scoreline there's ever been, because we should have won that game 7-1.
Came on with Burnley was decent. Well, I don't know. I can't remember him, but Burnley wasn't a good performance whatsoever from the whole team that I can remember. So, but I'm sure it wasn't his fault, because I'm sure he came in some late minutes or something like that. So, but I'm just saying, we should be using some of these players that are not being used. But again, Lewis Miley on that end has been performing well. Be fair, I mean, there's no complaints with Lewis Miley in my opinion. I mean,
Miley's been a revelation. Absolutely class.
So he should be.
Remember win?
We should rest Bruno out and should put Miley in. This is just that simple. What was that, Jefferson? You trying to?
I remember the days I was arguing with Win, saying Miley should be playing. He went, he only passes it sideways and backwards. Do you remember?
Well, because everybody was raving on about his 65 out of 65. And by the way, all I'm trying to do there is protect the lad, because he's getting so many accolades. With players thinking he's Gaza. Fans thinking he's Gaza, and I'm just saying, whoa, keep your powder dry. Let's just let the lad develop.
Wait, hold on. I say, if you're talking to me, you can just say directly. You don't have to funny around with me. You can say things to my face if you need to say to my face. I said that he's the greatest thing. No, you don't. Apparently, you're saying you got fans thinking he's Gaza. I've said he is the greatest talent Newcastle has ever seen since Gaza, and you agree with that. So what's happening?
Well, let's see if he gets to Anderson's levels.
What are you on about? He's better than Anderson.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he playing for England?
No. What is that? That's another man's decision, man. That ain't got nothing to do with anything. The kid he is 18. What was it, 19?
He's certainly got the potential to be better than Anderson.
So Anderson is not giving you that.
But
let's of Gaza energy, man. Come on, man.
Let's just give him time to develop. That's all I'm saying.
But you agree with me, and now you're backtracking as usual.
It's coming along lovely.
Pont Mags has pointed out Lewis Hall has Gaza levels of talent. Now, Lewis Hall is a number 10. He'd be a Gaza.
Well, I'm not saying Gaza isn't like the exact player. I'm talking about
Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall should go into the midfield and take control. He'll find those reverse passes and the ball through the line. He'll beat 3 men and have a shot from outside the box. He does it from fullback. Put him at number 10. That shakes up the attack. And they won't be expecting it tomorrow.
And he'll likely get a bit more protection if he's playing as an 8 or a 10 than he will. The protection he's getting at the minute is diabolical from the referees. The way he's being hacked down.
They must be thinking of it. They must be thinking of it. They cannot sit and watch the matches that we watch and see that we can pass the ball around at the back, can knock it backwards and forwards to the midfield, but then it gets stuck about 30 or 40 yards away from the goal until it gets out to Trippier or Gordon to put a cross over the bar. How many times have we seen that?
Who would you play left back?
We've got to be able to do something clever going forward, and he's got it. He can do it. I think Miley could do it as well, but I don't think he's got bloody confidence to do it. He put 2 excellent balls through against Aston Villa, neither of which were read by the forward players, so they just went to waste. But he saw angles and passes there that they hadn't worked out. They've got to be training.
Ian, would you play Murphy at left back?
Working on it.
Sorry? Would you play Murphy at left back then if you're taking Lewis Hall out?
I was wondering what we could do to make it difficult for them and still have and still have an edge. I would think maybe tomorrow 4-2-3-1 with no, I wasn't thinking that, was I? I wanted to play 3 centre halves. Murphy can be the left wing back. Murphy both wing backs. The 2 Murphys, with Miley Tonali and Lewis Hall on the point.
We got a super chat from Waza. OMG, Win, you look like you've been fired out of a rock.
A rock shots cannon. Rock Shots was the gay nightclub in Newcastle.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. But there you go. Thank you very much.
It looks good on in purple, to be fair.
No,
Derek Somerville.
It looks good in purple, man. a little Barney-ish, but it's all right. No, that's no problem. Here's the thing, though, Ian. You got a good point. He was a midfielder once upon a time. He could do the midfield role, but Eddie Howe's never going to play him there. Come on, man. Let's wake up from this. Eddie Howe. The biggest criticism for Eddie right now is that he's not changing whatsoever, and it's pointed out after over and over and over and over again. And he's really not changing nothing. I mean, fans not being patient, fans starting to speak up on this situation, and he's not changing. He's not. We can go on and on about the Champions
The ladies not for turning.
The Carabao Cup and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, let's bring it back to football. Win. I know you're excited. People are talking about you in your shirt, but let's bring it back to football. We're supposed to be going on radio now. You think people want to listen to football talk, man? They don't want to listen about you and your purple shirt.
I've never mentioned me shirt.
Your purple shirt looking like Prince over there. You know what I mean? If you didn't know who Prince is. When?
I know he had a raspberry beret.
Anyway, the thing is, Eddie Howe's not going to do that. Eddie Howe doesn't seem to be flexible, really, in as far as lineups or substitution is concerned.
No,
we
Chris,
needed
you say
points.
that,
He's vanilla.
but you
You're
say
saying he's
that,
vanilla.
but then he pulled 3 centre halves out to go and play at Arsenal, so he can mix it up when he thinks
Ian,
when he
how
thinks
far
it's
do you have to go
making a
back?
difference.
How far do you have to go back? I mean,
That's
again,
a year ago.
But you only got to look back as far as PSV, where he played 2 centre halves with Tonali in between them.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He was not a center half, man. He was a proper number 6. He was still a 6. All he had to do is listen, get in between the center backs when we need to, and that was what happened against Aston Villa, by the way. That changed. So is either Tonali is a numpty, or he's being told something. Which, by the way, at the end of the day, players need to start taking some accountability and just say, "Look, I think the team is knackered right now, so I'm going to do what I need to do, even if it goes against the wishes or directions of the manager." To a certain extent, of course, not to get carried away. But Tonali can do that. He's a leader on the pitch, and he's one of the best players. You can make those executive decisions if you need to. So whoever
I don't think Tonali is a leader on the pitch.
He's
a very, very good player, but he ain't a leader.
No, that's not true at all.
You don't think he leads by example? Win.
Well, not to a particular event too, but I'm saying I've seen him shout and direct and move and point. I've seen him with my own eyes. Well, I have. So there you go. You can't use the you don't go to games anymore. I've been there last year and this year, and I've seen him time and time again point, yell, direct. I've seen him. Now he doesn't grab the flag and lift it up if that's the way you want. He doesn't go at the crowd and does it. He doesn't do that. But that might be just a different something that you expect from a midfielder that. Proper ones don't have to do that. Don't have to do all those shenanigans to be a proper midfielder. Again, Tonali against PSV was to
Tonali plays his game,
so
and it's a very good game, but he's not a leader on the pitch.
When it comes to the crunch, though, do you not think he needs to finish that chance against Villa?
Yeah, of course he does.
Does not need to score more goals and get more shots off.
Oh, of course he does. But
I think he should definitely get more shots off.
Yeah, we're talking about being effective.
He's not alone in that. I think all of our teams should get more shots up.
Yeah, but think about it, Win. Think about it, Win. Right, and I haven't done it too many times because obviously in my old age, when I do play 11 aside and I rock up, I play defense because I'm an old man now. But I don't know if you've ever played a 3-man midfield. It is hard work. And I give them testament for you're running, and you get into a position where you have to be clinical to compose yourself, not be out of puff. It's hard work. But guess what? If we had an extra midfielder, you won't have to do as much running. And if you're in an attacking position, you might just have that little bit more composure. Something to think about because they do too much running, man. We've seen it with Joelinton, Willock. Look at Willock when he was more of an attacking midfielder. Under Brucey playing either attacking midfielder or second striker. How composed was he in the box? They get up by the time they're chasing back defensively and then they have to get up. Do they have enough puff to have that little bit of quality in the final third? It probably takes a lot. It takes a lot.
I get what you're saying.
But we're talking about when you're talking about Bruno, you're talking about one of the best footballers in his position in Europe. You're looking at it more isolated. There's very limited players that could do what Bruno can do in his role. Do you see what I'm saying?
And also, by the way, you're talking Tonali play. Tonali is supposed to be the glue in midfield, and he can't. So now we want him to score. Now he's got to keep the midfield together, be between the center backs, and also you want him to score. So Bruno plays loose in midfield. He doesn't have a job to do. He doesn't have a job to do.
I want Tonali to score because I see him popping up in these positions and either not hitting the target or not working the goalkeeper enough properly. That's why I want him to do better.
You give him all the plaudits for having the engine, and when I say you, I mean the royal you. I do as well. Give him all the plaudits for having the engine that he's got to be able to have the recovery pace in midfield and cover the back four and do all of that and still get himself into those positions, but it's pointless getting into those positions.
I want to know. So now
if you don't take advantage of them.
So now we're saying Tonali misses sitters. What sitters is he missing other than the Aston Villa?
Doesn't miss sitters. I just wanted to work the goalkeeper a lot more than he does. It was a class save, Martinez. So, like, yes, I'll give Martinez that. It was a world-class save. So I'm being harsh in isolation. But generally speaking, when I see Tonali pick the ball up around the edge of the box, I want to see more from him. I want to see him either be more creative or test the goalkeeper more than he does in general, like Bruno has been a lot this season, certainly in the last few months. That's what I want to see from him. I'm not saying he's a bad player. Obviously, he's a quality player. He's one of our best players. It goes without saying. But in terms of like form and stuff, this is what I mean about looking at the Holy Trinity and it's as if like they can't do anything wrong. We shouldn't be afraid of refreshing things now and again if we need to.
I just say straight away, Irish, thank you very much, my friend. Irish gifts 5 memberships.
Appreciate you, mate.
And they've gone to Steve NUFC, William Smith 1632, the Mackenzie family, Caitlin Nick, and Real Scally. We have a Real Scally in our midst. Thank you very, very much, Irish.
Thank you very much for that, mate. Appreciate you. And please, if you were gifted a membership, consider renewing it once the free month is up. You got a lot of stuff coming your way from a lot of the lads. One of the shows, the player ratings, is doing really good with Ian and Michael. Good stuff. Good takes, of course. Good graphics on the screen. So they got a lot of good stuff going on. So appreciate that very much, all of you out there. Yeah, I think Tonali can be asked more on certain occasions, but I think that a lot of people will tend to get lost in the pretty part of the game. And they want that, everybody wants to score, everybody wants to celebrate, everybody wants to throw their arms up, mighty win.
What's Jeffo wanting to come in with there?
He'll lose his mind. Hold on, he'll lose his mind over the Bruno and the corner flag and all that nonsense. But at the end of the day, there's other jobs on the pitch that are really important. And I think it's critical when it comes to that. So it's easy to say the stats.
Let Tonali concentrate on his game. Yeah. We've got other leaders on the pitch. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, Father, it's unanimous. Barney the Purple Dinosaur says Washer. Thank you very much, Washer, for your super chat.
You are a dinosaur, so you got that right. Jefferson, what are you on about?
I was just going to say, obviously, we first of all, we need to commend him on fashioning that chance, because I think what we didn't allude to is the fact he actually twisted up 3 players to get there, which was a marvel in itself. And he probably would have won goal of the month if he tucked it in. But that aside, I had a very quick look at the stats. Exactly, and in Tonali's first season at Milan, he got 0 goals. And in his total seasons at Milan, 130 appearances, he got 7 goals. He actually had his highest goal scoring season in his career with us last season, and he's currently on 7 goals in 90 appearances. So he's matched exactly what he scored at Milan in 40 less games with us. What I would say is, in terms of patterns of playing positions, you've got to ask, why is he the one that's there if he's the 6? Who's meant to be the most attacking out of the 3? Why isn't Miley in that position? Because you're not really expecting Joelinton to in that position either. But
the thing is, Miley's been playing a lot of right back, and so he's never going to be in that position really. And when he's a midfielder, maybe you can talk. That's the intricate situation, because when you start looking at stats, Miley's been playing right back most of the time, and not much of midfield. I think he played midfield, of course, against Villa, right? He started against Villa in midfield, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yeah.
So that's, but since when? So that's kind of the situation. But no,
should have been right back.
Miley did have the header that was Martinez's other world-class save against Villa. I just think both Miley and Tonali have got a fantastic shot on them, and we never see it. So I'm agreeing with
100%. I would be telling Tonali to shoot more. And of course, why wouldn't you? But again, he's a proper midfielder, man, and he is a leader on the pitch. No matter who wants to put that agenda, he isn't all of a sudden. And if you're talking about goals, he's got 0 goals just as Declan Rice in the Champions League, for example. You know what I mean? So goals can go either way, man. You talk about Gordon, all the penalties he's gotten. What does that mean? It means nothing really if you're trying to analyze the game. It means nothing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, and I do agree with what Jeff was saying there, and that I would want to see a more structured midfield where Tonali is sitting more, whoever it is in the number 6 is sitting more, and you've got the 2-8s going forward more than the number 6. Because this fluid system, I do agree, Jeff, it probably does ask too much of the 3 midfielders to go up and down all the time. So yeah, I do agree with that point. It's just that obviously once Tonali gets himself in there, I just want to see more.
It'd be interesting to see how many chances he's been in front of goal to score.
Bloody shoot!
But again,
you have got no idea how many times I shout that throughout 90 minutes. Pull the trigger, man!
You shouted Gordon and Barnes and tell them not to shoot when they're standing 3 inches away from 2 centre halves. I'm fed up with them trying to shoot and it rebounding out for a bloody throw in.
I just think if you shoot, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but you also got to do it with common sense because.
But the other thing about shooting is that if it gets a ricochet, you've got to be better at second balls than we've been lately. Because second balls, be it in the box, their box, our box, midfield, we are getting beat to them time and time again and losing possession of a second ball. We're winning quite, when Villa were launching along, our centre-halves were winning every ball, but they were just heading kind of into space, and it was just getting gobbled up by Villa because they were working harder.
Well, probably fatigue as well, Win. This is what happens
Absolutely.
when you don't
yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, again, Bruno shouldn't be playing as many games as he's playing. He shouldn't. Doesn't need to. And this notion that we don't win without him.
It's not a notion; it's a fact.
It's nonsense. It's nonsensical. You know what I mean? It's you've got to set the team up in order to do that. You can't depend on one player. He's not Ronaldinho, man. He's not Messi. He's not Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not Ronaldo Brazilian. You know what I mean? He's not Maradona. So those people you can say, you know,
better than all of them.
I mean, that was shambolic.
Anyway, man, we're gonna skip. We're gonna edit that part out. We're gonna edit that part out. Again, we should have a team that. Why are we depending on Isak, for example? And it takes a whole season to fix that issue. Think about it, man.
We haven't played a whole season yet.
In the situation with that, right, is you've got to come to the realization, Isak is not coming back. So
get away.
Yeah, you need to put that in your head. So at some point you gotta say, because all these conversations going on about the center forward. By the way, everything great on the players' course, but they were absolutely rubbish when it came to Voltemara. Both Ian Mackay and Michael Gramstow decimating Voltemara to levels never seen.
Deserved it, mate.
Shocking to a certain extent.
As I said on that program, Chris, Voltemara, when he came on, looked like an old man who'd lost his dog in the park.
Yeah, in it's criminal. You know why? All these crosses that we could have had good ones when Wissa was on. Even Gordon, poor lad, he can't cross with his left. I mean, it was just shocking, time and time again. Every time he crossed, it would go right, to the Gallagher end. But at least he was attempting to do that. They were rubbish, but he was attempting. When Voltemara comes on the pitch, everybody forgets they got a center forward. It's weird how that works, by the way, because you got a short one and you put all the crosses in that he can't reach. The times I've seen Wissa I felt so bad for. He was knackered, by the way, before the 50th minute. But the times he jumps, he tries to head the ball and misses every time is comical, man. And whenever you get a 6'7" center forward, there's no crosses to be seen in the box. That part I cannot understand. Jefferson, are you in agreement or disagreeing
I mean, there's a real lack of football intelligence there. I mean, Visser
Bro,
is 5'9". He's
and we
not going to
cross it.
out jump Pau Torres. I mean, we're not talking about prime Les Ferdinand here. He had a leap on him, right? We got to be wise when we have the ball, and we're chasing the game, whipping the ball into a short centre forward. How you expecting to score?
What? Listen, even I was on the west corner of the Gallagher end, and we kept crossing the whistle. And there was one cross where he tried so hard, he almost busted a gut trying to get to it, and he missed. He missed, and a lot of people around me were starting to laugh. It was like, are you having a laugh type thing? Like, why are we doing that? You know what I mean? It made no sense. It made no sense whatsoever. Ian Fleming, thank you for the super chat. Just to say, I have been watching in the background, folks. Not well again because of this weather. Hope you and Betsy had a great time in the tune, Chris. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Hope you get well soon. And, yeah, we had a great time. Great time in Newcastle. Great food. Great. Now, proper fish and chips, not from the Granger Market anymore. So the Granger Market has lost their spot. And on top of that will be Waterford
Arms.
Waterford Arms in Sluice. That was some Sluice. That was some fish and chips, I tell you. And that wasn't even the whale, man. The whale must have been literally a dolphin on your table.
What did you get? Cod, Chris? Cod?
No. Well,
yeah,
cod,
he did.
It was cod. Yeah. It was cod, but it was big as well. But that wasn't the whale thing. It's just criminal. Somebody can finish that. But yeah, it was amazing.
You know what you got to do now, didn't you? You got to open up your own fish and chip shop in Missouri, man.
No, there's anybody would show up, man. But
that's 3,000 miles from the coast, man.
Yeah, which I do love me some seafood, but yeah, no. Just to remind folks, as far as Jamal Lascelles, just give you some news there that Newcastle United, according to the Chronicle, Newcastle's English defender Jamal Lascelles has been told he can leave the club if the right deal is found. The 32-year-old has been in Newcastle for 12 years now. So basically just trying to find somebody, to come get him, but nobody's going to come get him. Who's going to buy Lascelles? Unfortunately,
I don't understand why he can't make it into training.
Well, I think it may be a situation where he's not keen to at this point. That's what the rumor mill says. It might be wrong.
He's still club captain, isn't he? I mean, I don't know what's going on there.
What's that in case he gets injured or something? Is that what he's worried about?
I don't know.
I think that's what it is.
He was injured for a while, but he's not happy in his body enough to come and start training again. But he's not. That was about 4 weeks ago, wasn't it?
I was in Newcastle watching these games, man, and that last game, it was so cold. If I was Jamal Lascelles, I'm not training. I'm not going to play. It's so cold, man. I'm not even going to get to play. Well, why am I going to? Why am I going to the stadium? It was so bad. I think that it's leaning towards that. Like, man, I'm not bothered to run around. Poor Alex Murphy, by the way, he warmed up 20 times. Got up, sat down, got up, sat down, got up, sat down. Never to be seen. And it was predictable as well. Geniesta, who was your top 3 best NUFC? What best NUFC overall? All time best. Oh well, it's got to be Alan Shearer, Solano, and
Alan Shearer, Peter Beardsley, Bruno.
Ooh,
Lee, Solano, Shearer. But I think Beardsley is probably a good shout. Like,
no, he's as far as. No, that's your picks because Beardsley is better than most of those guys, to be honest. So, if you actually object, no, Peter Beardsley is better than Alan Shearer. Stop. And I saw Alan Shearer as well this past when I was there in Newcastle. And listen, Alan Shearer is Alan Shearer, but Peter Beardsley, when it comes to footballing,
different players.
We saw the very, very best of Alan Shearer. We didn't see the very, very best of Peter Beardsley.
Peter Beardsley was Messi before Messi was.
But even what we did see was pretty damn good. And
Yeah,
Bruno
we never saw.
is right up there with him now.
No, Shearer, Solano, Speed for me. Gary Speed just has to be in there for me.
Solano,
He's like for me. Gary Speed is the most complete midfielder that's ever played for the club. He
Jeff,
could do
right,
everything.
let me just say on that, and this is what I mean about Tonali, about players being effective. Like Gary Speed, he was up and down every game. He not only scored goals, but he stopped goals by tracking his man again and again and again. He didn't have the finesse of Tonali or the passing of Tonali, but he was effective at both ends. He got 14 goals in one season with his head, with his feet. And this is what I mean. That's gold dust.
Great cross-field pass as well.
Dust. Yeah, that's true.
Firm in the tackle. He had everything.
I was about to say. No, Gary Speed was Gary Speed better than Bruno any day of the week.
No. I think Bruno's up there. Bruno probably is better, I would say, but Gary Speed is one of our best players, and Gary Speed is a good example as to what I was saying before about Tonali, where it's easy to, he's not got
Gary
the finesse.
Speed wasn't playing six though, man. That's it.
He was up and down everywhere, Chris, and he was playing a six in his career.
He didn't have the responsibility to be Newcastle United's holding midfielder. That's a lot of responsibility, man.
But Tonali does do similar. It's fluid. Tonali is tasked with the challenge of going up and down.
Midfielder, no doubt about it, man. But listen,
starstruck, man.
Everybody's got Solano needs to be on everybody's list because right now you can't name a better right wing, and we still need a right wing right now after buying Ilanga. So listen, Solano better be on everybody's list.
Des Hamilton, someone says. There's a winger.
There you go.
Oh man. I know DX. DX loves Rule Fox, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Indeed, he does.
Rule Fox.
Yeah, that's criminal, man. That's criminal.
Solano's up there in the conversation for best right winger without a doubt. But as far as
conversation, he is the best right winger, man.
Best all-time player, no way.
Listen,
what side did Laurent Robert play on most?
Left.
He was on the left. He's the best left winger we've ever had by a mile.
Thing is about Solano as well, real team player because he filled in central midfield. He played right back on numerous occasions as well. Real team player.
Win. You're saying that Laurent Robert is right up there, but Solano isn't.
That's just
I'm saying Robert is easily my best left winger, and I'm including David Ginola in that.
Do you mean in terms of ability? Do you mean in terms of ability? Win? Is that what you mean? In terms of actual ability?
I'm talking. Actually, I'm talking in terms of output.
Because we were lucky.
What you want a winger to do, provide assists and goals, and Laurent just did that time after time after time after time, and not tap ins, not just the odd spectacular goal, but but goals all the time. Have a look at his reel, man. The 32 goals he scored for the two.
I'm more shocked that you defend Gordon and his input is nowhere near Robert's, and you still defend him day in and day out, which is insane.
I don't know how much Robert would be worth these days.
If you're used to Robert and the fact that you allow in defend Anthony Gordon's output is insane. It makes no sense. If I didn't really get to watch.
When have I defended Gordon's output?
That's all you do, man. Talking about he runs around for the team and his output is rubbish.
I've defended his work rate, absolutely. I've criticised constantly his output.
I question that now anyway. His work rate.
It's still there, man.
It's still there.
There you go.
But it's pointless. He gets paid off with pressing himself like Billy O, and nobody backing him up.
Win. Let it go, man. Let it go. It's just, you are knackered, Win.
Heck of a question from Jin yesterday. That was a heck of a question.
That's a wonderful super chat there. Appreciate that, mate.
I mean, that's a show in itself, man.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. Ladies and gents, don't forget to smash the like button.
That's a closed season show.
It is the late night show, folks. Smash the like button. 10:34 now in the UK.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek the Mighty Wind, and the rest of the panel, Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK and UFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
Where might you win there, man?
I've got no idea, but we'll settle for it.
Oh my God! Set up for maximum confrontation. They put you in front of the whole thing, because all the stuff.
Bring it on, folks. Bring it on.
Smash the like button, folks. We got 30 minutes left on the show, and a lot of good stuff to talk about. Of course, we mentioned the Lascelles situation. We talked about the PSG game, which is going to be. But listen, I wouldn't play Bruno tomorrow. He's important for the team, so I wouldn't put him out. I just put Lewis Miley. So why are we overthinking this? And listen, by the way, I would put Trippier on the right, but Trippier against Villa, against Villa was.
But
it was just unbelievable.
I'll spare Trippier. He's played 3 games in a week.
Yeah,
he can't play.
He needs a rest.
Miley's got to be right.
Bless him.
Yeah, but who needs a rest more, Bruno or Trippier?
Play Miley right back and Ramsey midfield.
Yeah,
and that should have happened against Villa.
What to be fair?
Play three
Love it.
Halves with Miley and Hall at the wing backs. Who have you got then? 5.
To be fair, you got me on that one. You got me on that one. We should probably do Ramsey in midfield. Ramsey was good against Villa, by the way. He put some through passes that were great vision. No, good performance in his minutes that he came in. So at some point, again, you should give the players the opportunity that they need. You were 100%, Tim, 100%, mate. So there you go. And Wino making these noises about Ramsey. I don't understand, man. What does he have to do for you to like him?
A little bit more.
I don't dislike him. He just has to do more.
He is improving each game.
He is improving, absolutely.
And he got 40. He looked better because he got 45 minutes instead of 25 minutes against Villa, I thought. I agree with Tim that he's got to start some games. Him and Elanga have got to start and have a little run of games.
Elanga, certainly, I'm more and more inclined to say, let's find out if he can do anything or not. But again, I mean, his first effort on Sunday when he ran the ball into touch, and that's exactly the ball you want him to be given, and he got it, and he ran on. His first touch was just diabolical, and that's all about confidence.
No, listen though. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Elanga was not bad at all, man. He has been improving. So I don't understand this again. Win.
But listen,
a bedwetter right now. You're being a bedwetter, man.
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, I've sent you. Have a look at your WhatsApp.
Man. I need you to speak. I don't need you to say me nothing, man.
Because we've been criticizing our wingers all season, and yet,
no.
And yet, we're top of the league for accurate crosses per match. 5.4 accurate
You're out your
crosses
mind, man.
per match. It's the strikers who are letting us down. And that's despite all these teams having figured Eddie out and stopped all the supply and da-di-da-di-da and forcing us to the wings. 5.4 accurate crosses per match. Accurate cross defined as cross which Newcastle player makes, which a Newcastle player touches first. I rest my case, Millard.
Win. If that's 5.8 accurate crosses in the Man U game, where we put 46 crosses in, that's why the centre forwards are not expecting to get it. Because most of them have ballooned over the bar, or they go out for a throw-in on the other side.
No, but if 5.4 of them are accurate in 90 minutes, you'd expect them to complete one of them. Love it. More corners than any other team. 148 corners so far this season.
I want to be honest here.
So we're attacking effectively because we're winning corners.
I'm going to ask you and everyone. I want to ask you guys something as well because you've seen it live. At least from what I've seen, I think we're a shocking footballing side at the moment. I think we play awful football. Are you guys honestly happy with what you're saying? It's what I actually gave it the other day by saying it's from the 90s. I think it's worse than the 90s. Get it right,
Eddie Howe all day, every day.
Get it to the left, cross it in. Get it to the right, cross it in. Get it to the left, cross it in. Where's the incisive passing, man? Play the ball through the middle. Have some kind of bravery. It's awful football. I've seen Burnley play better football than us in the league. I'm serious. Wolves play better football than us.
But you can't not. But first of all, you cannot be happy with the PSV performance. You can't. We were brilliant.
Chris, are you telling me you rate PSV? The naivety.
Here we go.
No.
Newcastle play well, and it's because the opposition was crap.
No.
Well, listen, I think that hold on. I think our press in that game, we ended up.
They made it very easy for us, Chris.
We ended up forcing them to make mistakes.
They put 2 at the back, and then they made the same mistake again.
I thought first half we struggled against their press.
Was that the same PSV that romped at Liverpool? Come on, man. Let's be real. In the group stages, guys.
I rest my case.
No. Let's be real. I'm going to be honest with you. The teams that gave us trouble was Marseille, Barcelona. I actually felt we were better than Leverkusen, but they nicked us at the end for the draw. That's the only bits of quality we've had. We can't wax lyrical against teams that we should be beating. That team's not even better than the PSV we played under Sir Bobby.
They all should be beaten.
Zero threat. They
Jefferson,
offered zero threat, man.
The team that beat the Italian champions 7-0. Yeah, we should be beating them.
In the second half,
the team that beat Liverpool, yeah, we should be beating these teams.
How many shots did they have on target?
In the second half,
I don't know off the top of my head.
2?
That's because we stopped.
That's because we played well and stopped them.
We're so good. They're Conference League opposition, guys. It's dreadful.
Oh, come on.
Union Saint-Gilloise. Come on. Let's not stat pad. Let's talk real sense.
No.
When we've come up against quality, we've struggled. We lost to Barcelona. We lost to Marseille. We let a lead slip against
100%.
They're the only quality teams we've faced. All of them have been
100%.
rubbish.
We would have beat Marseille if it hadn't been for Nick Pope.
I can't do it, guys. I can't gas us up when we don't deserve it. I'm sorry, guys.
No, but
PSV
that's the problem. No, it wasn't shambolic, man. Listen, I think you can't deny that our press in that game was good, and we had a good performance. You don't accept them as a. You say that we should be beating them, and I agree on that sense. If when it comes to Wolves, and I debated here many times, we should have beaten Wolves. We should have done that. Should have done a better job, clearly. The Newcastle United's problem is the inconsistency. We go from great to absolutely bad. And that is the problem that has to be down to the manager, players, etc. I agree with that 100%, but you can't all of a sudden say that we play same rubbish every week, but we're just playing against weaker teams. And that's where we win. But that's basically what you're saying. You've got to have some level of balance, man.
I'm only calling it as I see it, Chris. I'll give us credit if I have to, but
exactly.
You can't say that PSV didn't make it easy. You can't even rank Union Saint-Gilloise as a credible.
I agree with them. I agree with
those. So what we have to do is look at this factually. They were a poor side.
We stopped them being a good side.
The first 2 goals were giveaways. They were giveaways. Giveaways, guys. Come on.
A bit like our 2 against Marseille. A bit like our 2 against Marseille.
Well, it makes sense on that, and he will also, and want to go against him because the one of Burnley that you keep saying 3-1 is actually 2-1. They gave us what's his name? Dubravka gave us a goal, and you kept on going. We beat them 3-1. When they see this, when you get into this given goal business. It happens. It happens. In my opinion, our pressing got the job done. The problem, Jefferson, is that we don't do that, man. We don't continue to do that. We don't continue to tell Tonali, do the job, keep the equilibrium of the midfield between the center backs. Keep doing that job, and then, of course, provide when you need to, whatever. We don't do that the next game. We go from good to absolutely rubbish all of us. And I do agree that that's got to be a problem.
But we're rubbish against Villa, man.
No, look at the chat. Look what the chat's telling you. The other thing is this, yeah? You know, like you get those racing car games like Gran Turismo and all that stuff. And you get an opportunity. You know, if you do a lap and you do a fast lap, you get to race yourself, right? You see like the shadow and you got to chase the shadow because you've seen a better version of yourself. Our best version of ourselves is 22-23. That team would absolutely smash us today. If we had to play against ourselves, we would lose 4-0. Guys, we're a rubbish team right now. And you know why? It's because of the manager. And people don't want to admit it. I mean, more people are turning towards it.
Who was the manager in 22-23? Just remind me.
Yeah, but win. It's gone stale, mate.
That was the manager. That was the manager playing the way the manager wants to play, and you hate that.
They're not even running, Win. I used to say
no, they're not.
Because you're rubbish. We can't pass the ball, and now we can't run. We can't press. We can't do nothing. All we do is get into the wings and cross it in.
There's a lot of criticism that should be given. Let me get to the super chat first. Dark Side of the Moon says Jefferson spot on. PSV looked like a championship side.
We made them look like a championship side.
They were a championship side. They're rubbish.
Let me just can I just say something? Right, I think that we do lack an identity now at the moment, and I think that
100%.
Yeah. Like I think we don't. We're not direct, but at the same time, we're not good enough to do tiki-taka. So we're neither here nor there. We're stuck in limbo in that sense.
Because he signed runners. Because he signed runners.
Well, this thing, it's
we don't even run anymore.
You need to rotate if you want to do that style. I know you could say, well, fourth season we got fourth, we didn't rotate as much then, but there wasn't as many games then. So if you're going to play this style, A, you need to rotate more, and B, you need to sign the right players. And Voltemeda isn't the right player at the tip of the spear to be pressing like that.
Well, again, my point earlier was I didn't get to finish it because the player Ian and Michael were decimating Voltemada, crucifying him for no reason at all. Because we said Isak is gone. People get crying. You know, Isak's not coming back. So we need to stop playing as if he is on the team. We got Voltemada, we got Wissa. We need to play for those guys now, for them to score. So this notion that we just gotta keep blaming Isak, we gotta figure it out. We gotta do something. We gotta be proactive. Figure it out how to play with Voltemada, and trust me, crossing for Wissa and not crossing for Voltemada is not the way of doing it. We got 15 minutes left.
I'll tell you what we need to do.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
The voice of the Toon Army here, ladies and gents. 15 minutes left on the show, going into 11 p.m. UK. I did see a comment that I want to get to because it's a really good one. You know, this based on a conversation that was brought up with Newcastle's director of football. I was going to say Paul Mitchell, but he's not him anymore. He's knackered.
Not a perks to impose interest.
There you go. Win. What's the DOF's name?
He did it on purpose.
Ross Wilson.
Ross Wilson, man. Let's see, pop-up quiz. But no, I did. I was going to say because let me see. I'll go to a star comment that reminded me of it. Punt Mag said it was the sporting directors buying the players back then. Thank God. It's supposed to, back in it's supposed to now because it seems like
which players are we talking about?
We talking about the 22-23. You were talking about 22-23 season, and we had a brilliant time. Of course, he was pointing out that Jefferson was
just
saying
remind me when Ashford came in or whatever he was called.
Ashworth.
Got us to Nali, didn't he?
He got us to Nali.
Yeah, that was the following season.
But again, I just want to. I have an insight, mate. Come on,
we didn't have a DOF when we signed Botman, Bruno, prove that we're wangers.
Isaac. This dude, I swear.
Paul
he has
Liveramento.
zero journalistic bone in his body. When somebody says, I got an insight, the rest shut the heck up and listen to the man that's got something to say. But he wants his opinion above the facts, and that is an issue. I got an insight for you, man. Because over the weekend, I don't even know when it was, really. Midweek last week. We actually met the CEO, of course.
Well, when I was there. Right, yeah.
You weren't even there. What are you on about? You didn't.
But you told us all about it.
But I had to tell the folks, not you, that they're relevant. Actually, I didn't tell you this. I didn't tell you this part about it. About talking to the DOF, Ross Wilson, who, by the way, I thought I was short. Ross, cheers, mate. But Ross is shorter than me. But that's just neither here nor there. I want to just put out this fact when it comes to buying players. Newcastle United, any player, Ross has said and told everybody that any player that comes, that's the motto, by the way. This is Newcastle United today, how it runs. It's factual based on what the guy said. Ross Wilson said, any player that comes to Newcastle United only come with the final decision of Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe has the final say with any footballer that comes to Newcastle United. Mighty Win he's got a chubby right now. If you're in America, you know what that is. Because it's something that he...
Quite right, as far as I'm concerned.
He loves it. Some people will take... If you're actually in the middle and you're trying to be objective on things, you're like, wait, okay, that's the fact. Eddie Howe has a final word, final say, whether this guy or that guy, whoever comes in, he's got the final decision. If you're a football club, you've got to think as well, is that really the right way of doing things? Because what if a player, we're just going to do what the manager says? Again, it's not really the case, because I think Ross Wilson has a team and everybody will be scouting and identify players. If Eddie Howe needs somebody, Ross will come up with options. But they might like the player, but if Eddie Howe doesn't approve, they're not coming. And that is from the horse's mouth, literally. So
That'll do for me, Doctor.
There you go.
Laura Toon Wifey, thank you very much. I'm quite proud of our position so far in the Champions League. And so am I.
And the next one is Giniesta, says, temporary DOF, Nick Hammond, January 24, Ashworth in 23, says Giniesta. So,
Nick Hammond, who he?
I want to know your opinions, of course, the panels and also the live chat. What do you think of that? It is pretty much the way Newcastle is operating now. So, when you're delighted to hear that, and that confirmed. Ian, what do you make of that?
What do I make of that? It's not a process that is transferable for when the next manager comes in, necessarily. That might not be how they want to operate. But if all he's got is to say yay or nay at the end of it all, and somebody else is doing all of the scouting, if they love him and put him forward and Eddie says, nah, they haven't sold him properly. They haven't presented him properly, because he's not an idiot. If as a scout you found the next big thing, you've got to present it for him to say yes, haven't you? So I think it's fine. I think any manager who, old-fashioned manager would want to have the final say and would be delighted that they've had all of the hard graft of going and watching and analysing and everything taken away from them. Knowing how, we'd probably want
now,
to go
what would you do then if for some reason Eddie Howe says, you know what, this is the end of the year for me, the end of my times in the Toon, so I'm leaving. So now you hire another manager and comes and tells you, well, listen, I don't want Ilanga, I don't want Ramsey. Miley is not really my cup of tea anymore, so probably need to sell him. I don't like Wissa, really, a little too old, and I think we need to look at another option because Walter Mata is not gonna do the job. So now you got 5 players that you just bought, and what are you gonna do now? Because are you gonna tell the new manager, bad? You got to deal with Eddie Howe's players.
No. When you're interviewing any potential new manager, you're going to say, this is the squad that you're going to be inheriting. You're going to potentially have X million pounds to spend. What do you think you can achieve with that?
Please,
and if he says, I can't achieve anything, well, you go and look for a different manager.
But that scenario you've said there, Chris, why would that scenario not happen in the situation where the DOFs pick the players? Isn't it still feasible that a manager would come in and say, well, I'm not happy with these players that the DOF signed 6 months ago or a year ago?
But the DOF's job is to do what's best for Newcastle United overall. The manager's job was what he's going to do what's best for him.
No, I agree.
1 year or 2 months. And that's the point. The DOF has a long contract. It's a different type of.
Yeah. But a new manager would still come into the club not fancying certain players at that time, potentially. Whoever signed them, whether it was a DOF, whether it was a previous gaffer. What I would say, right, is for me, I don't mind the principle of the manager having the final say on who comes in, because for me, it's their job to build that team in their vision, right? And they live or die by that. If you don't think that vision and that team is good enough, or if you think that manager isn't open-minded enough to other players, then obviously as a board, it's up to you then to make that decision as to whether you want to keep that manager. That to me, that's how it should work. But there should be obviously the collaboration between manager and DOF and scouts. There should be a lot of collaboration. In the end, the manager then should say yay or nay. But again, if the DOF or the board don't think the manager is collaborating enough, then that's a conversation to have if you think that's the right man going forward.
I think it's quite good, isn't it? Because it really gives further accountability to the manager for the way the team's performing and the results that it gets. If everybody knows he's had the final say, so all the signings have come with his stamp of approval, and then he can't get a tune out of them, then he can't at the end go, oh yeah, well, we had 1 or 2 injuries and we're a bit out of form. It wasn't me, but it was him. I think it's good. I know it's old fashioned, but then I'm quite old, so it's what I'm used to, really. Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, they used to do that.
Well, I think they're a bit. How can I put it? Now I'm a nice Chris now, so I can't. I gotta put it in the. How can I put it?
That's where we want Eddie to be.
The best managers ever.
And what's the Scottish lad? Well, I'm Scottish now, by the way. There you go, baby. And Ferguson. I mean.
And what's that called you've got on your head? Can you remember?
The kilt hat. But I'm Scottish
now.
Some haggis. That's some.
Did you drink Iron Brew, Chris? Did you drink Iron Brew?
No, I got him an Iron Brew. No.
No, I gotta have some. I gotta have some of that. But anyway, Jefferson, what do you want to say about that topic in particular?
I just think if it's like he's the be all and end all that makes decisions, they've got this the wrong way round. There's a couple of things there for me. I think something that's absent is there appears to be no club signings. And whether we like it or not, that's modern football. I would like the board to take a step up and say, we're making these signings for the club, whether they're going to be sold on in the future, or Eddie, we're forcing you to play them, or we're putting them in the academy. So I'd like to see a bit of that. But for me, what should be happening is, so for example, Malik Thiaw, for example, imagine Thiaw hasn't arrived. It was evident where the weakness was in our defence. He should be able to go to his director of football and say, we need these attributes in a defender. We need someone who's pacey and quick. Go out there and find one for me. He'll come back with a list of maybe 5. Then they sit together, they review the tapes. Which one out of these do you prefer? Which one out of these do you think will help? But it's not like he's got the definitive final decision. He maybe contributes towards it. But like I said, I want to see a little bit more authority from the leading members of the club.
Interesting. We're going to go to the chat right now to end the show. Brian Quinn, thank you for being a member for 16 months. Says the manager should always have the last say on signings, says Brian. Thank you for being a member, mate. Michael Gramslow there. You'll never know how good players are without giving them a consistent run of starts in the starting 11, in my opinion. Ramsey and Ilanga need 4 or 5 starts in a row.
I'll go along with that.
In a row?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that ain't going. I mean, listen, I could agree with that, but it ain't going to happen. I don't think that any Newcastle fan that's going to agree that Ilanga needs to start 5 games in a row. When you got
Listen, thanks everybody for all the super chats. We had Wazza in multiple times. Thank you, Wazza, as usual. Ginesta.
Hey, I'm not done, man. I'm going to the chat. What are you doing, man?
I'm going to the important chat.
You're out your mind, man.
RJ.
No, but he's muted right now. Kim Cam. PSG are capable of strong football, but in the past few weeks, their form has not been convincing. Inconsistent results, drop points where they dominated. Bainley says it's about pride. Qatar versus Saudi, a weak team and an embarrassing loss would lead to Eddie being sacked in the wow. That's one way of looking at it, I'm telling you. But I highly doubt it. But hey, if the Mackhams game didn't make him mad, maybe the Saudi Qatar derby will. I don't know. But that's one way of looking at it. Irish students hasn't Chris back in the States looks like the happy clapper. The drugs are wearing off. No, man. I just came back with a different perspective.
We'll sort you out, Chris. We'll sort you out, mate.
2 coin phrase. Anderson is exceptional mind. Kim Cam, PSG are capable of strong football, but in the past few weeks, I think we read that one, dude. Ginesta, our best dribbler is a left back. Let that sink in, says Ginesta. Let me see.
He's a midfielder playing left back.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one, but he's a left back now, mate. Ladies and gents, just a reminder: too much alcohol will also get you into delusional stat like win, don't drink, and panel and talk, basically. Gary Kelvinton says the only reason we are top of accurate crosses is because last 6 games we have attempted 164, while the opposition have tried 74. So the more you cross, the more you're going to be accurate.
Correct.
That's an interesting.
But we're getting the crosses in.
Wayne, I don't think that's much to shout about, man. Look at how many crosses I've actually been landed. How many crosses I've landed? Oh my God, that's not good, that man. Animal Elector says Chris is comeback brainwashed by the happy clappers. No, man, there's no brainwashing here. No brainwashing.
No, half an hour with Jefferson will sort that out.
Chris, you're being sentimental because you were at the game. It's a pretty novel experience. Says Spot Max. And TL there says, Jefferson, you can only beat what's in front of you. All English teams have been strong, and it's down to money now. That is why it's getting boring and predictable.
And we didn't even get onto the Delight Money League, which was published.
No. More comments here. Dark Side of the Moon. Jordy, ridiculous. We are all allowed an opinion. Love Eddie, but need better if we want to be top class, says
Time will tell.
Tony T there. Our transfer policy is all backwards. We should be spending big on wages.
I think that's wages.
Wages, not the transfer fees. There you go. But you won't get the player unless you agree on the transfer fee. That's the problem. That's the problem. Punt Max, DOF looks a long-term squad asset value, not just who the manager.
Run manager. Any manager.
Depends at the given moment. Well, that's one way of putting it. Super chat now. Let's thank the super chatters there. Was up multiple times. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you very much. Of course, RG Fox with a 10-pounder there. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Was again. Toon Assassin for giving 5 memberships. Appreciate you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Was in the house again. Ian Fleming. Thank you very much, mate. Geniesta also helping the channel out. Dark Side of the Moon as well as Laura Toon Wifey.
Pink Floyd.
One last time. Thank you very much, all of you out there. Don't forget, starting next week, somewhat at that's just Sunday, actually. We are going to be on DAB on radio, ladies and gents. So all you got to do is look for NUFC Talk Radio in your car. If you're on Tyneside, you'll be able to listen to all of us talk. That's going to be lovely. We're going to be also going on your smart speaker so you can tell, hey, Alexa, play NUFC Talk Radio. And we're going to be, you can listen to us there as well. You can listen to us on the website. You can listen to it on many online radio directories. And, of course, watch us live on YouTube. So become a member, hit the join button down below, and enjoy exclusive content for you. So, anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's match day. So, I think 5:30 p.m. kickoff for Match Day Live. So join us on that one on YouTube. But if you want to listen to us 24/7, NUFC Talk Radio. NUFCTalkRadio.com, NUFCRadio.com, wherever, we're there. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care, and bye-bye.
Peace.
We're the lads.